Okay. Are we live? Are we showing this? Okay, we're live. There we go. We're looking at
right
draws. What is
this?
this?
The
Top 3?
27, 48, third place on Wild Kingdom Rumble Racing from 2001 on the PS2, using the car Vortex. Actually went kind of goated.
What's with the backflips?
Whoa, you hit a
went crazy.
backflip?
Yeah, you do
Whoa,
backflip
my
boosts and stuff. You maintain boost. If you have 10 boosts, you can get around the whole track.
Full screen this. Full screen this. I don't know if it does anything weird today.
In other words, guys, welcome to Plat Chat Rumble Racing. Let's go!
Bro.
Let's go.
Newest edition of
And he gets the power. Oh
series.
my god, dude, this guy's the GOAT, actually. The world record for this track is a second quicker than me, and I had the perfect lines in this, man.
Well,
Wow.
his were 1 second more perfect.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
That guy's
This
the
is
GOAT.
crazy.
Some GOAT from Indonesia is just like a nutcase at this game. But
Jules
I
had-
hug that wall with a totally unrealistic racing line.
what do you mean? What do you mean? What, you can't do backflips like this in real life?
Dude, this replay is
see
like,
my
look
car? I
at
could
this.
do
Look at
that.
this cam.
Bro, we gotta get backflips in F1. That's the future.
That is.
Backflips
But
in
imagine if you could do
F1.
backflips in F1, how many more viewers would you get?
They do backflips.
Yeah,
It
just
happens, maybe
people
once a
might
season
die
and
when
someone
you do
nearly
a
dies.
backflip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the backflips definitely happen. It's just very dangerous.
As someone who's
very
actually
expensive.
kind of in tune with Formula One, the meme this past week on Formula Dank was that I think Saudi Arabia, they announced their new racetrack or something for like 2028, and it was just like lights and carousels, and people were like, "This is Mario Kart." Like Formula One has finally become
That's
Mario Kart.
sick.
It was like
Wait,
Rainbow
that's sick,
Road in
though.
Saudi Arabia or something. So that is the memes. They're bringing backflips to Formula One. You heard it here first. There you
I
go.
am down, bro. Are they going to put like power ups
The
on the track
flips,
too?
the flips and somersaults I just saw you do in the video. By the way, Jack, I was like, this looks
Yeah.
like snowboarding. You're like doing X Games snowboarding or something like.
SSX tricky.
SSX
Kind of
Yeah,
tricky?
something like
Let's
that. You're
go.
like
Yeah.
you're catching the rails and getting some points.
It's kind of wicked. Yeah, 2 days ago. There you go. Boom.
Yeah, my classic WoW guild is named after SSX Tricky. Actually, I don't know. There's some
Is it
big.
called SSX tricky? The guild?
No, it's called Snowboard Kids for short,
Oh.
SBK. But I don't know. That's some reference. There were some other people called SSX Tricky. Anyway, welcome to Plat Chat. Rumble Racing, episode 1. Episode
That's-
1. Episode 1. It's really funny. I'm just gonna keep going on the rant because I just love being off topic. Like sometimes I just miss foreheads, but I'm just gonna say this. Like once every like 2 months, Matt Morello DMs me. He reaches out to me, and he goes like, "Hey Johnny, what if we started a new Plat Chat?" And the most popular example is like Plat Chat World of Warcraft because we both play World of
Yeah.
Warcraft. Among that, we've also heard Plat Chat Call of Duty in 2020 when CDL, gained some popularity. Matt was like, "Hey, why don't we do Plat Chat Call of Duty?"
You could have done. But I didn't.
Plat Chat Dota. Jake, you wanna get going? Plat
Hey,
Chat
I will do
Dota.
Plat Chat Dota with you, man. I watch like all Dota esports. I watch like almost every pro game. I really.
You should get
follow
into
Dota.
that.
I'm like 5.5k in Dota. That's pretty high rank.
That's good. That's good. That's like really good.
I'm almost immortal. I'm like Divine 5. I'm very close to immortal.
Yeah.
Well, NA immortal, which is like EU Archon.
I spent like 3 years working Dota 2 events, and honestly, if you're a really good Dota 2 player, you're just built different. I can't do that game.
It's
a
so
unique
fun,
esports game.
man. It's
Jack, do you-
because it's punishing that it's fun.
Do you like to spam techies? Does it feel like home if you go techies or
No,
what?
Techies isn't even a meme hero anymore. Not really.
Okay.
It used to be like an absolute absurd hero that like puts some. I don't know if you guys don't know anything about Dota, but you could basically build invisible landmines that you can detonate at will. So you could like have a big booby trap that you lay. It took you like a
Wait, that's
minute. You had to
sick.
sit in the trees for a minute to make
it's like
this
Teemo.
trap. And then no, it's not like Teemo. And then you could like one hit their whole team if they walk over it. Like it's like so it's like famous. The old Techies was famous for you're down by 20k gold. The game is like completely unwinnable, and so you just mine the hell out of your base, and just the enemy team just keeps dying to the mines trying to push until the game is like 90 minutes and nobody knows. So somehow you throw the
Oh
game
my
and you can
God.
lose to the Techies. But they reworked Techies completely, and now
Did you
it's
see
more
that
of a normal
Dota clip
Dota hero now.
recently of the 90-minute stall fest and the caster's like, "Please end the fucking game," or like some shit like
dude,
that?
I love a
Oh my
90-minute
God.
Dota game though. That
Oh
was a
my
close
God.
game.
It's so
It was
sick.
really fun. I think what was that? Bet Boom versus was it
God,
OG
I-
or Spirit? Maybe the one.
I just saw the clip and I heard him swear. I was like,
Dude,
"It's
if
just funny
only-
as hell."
If only casters in Dota got paid by the hour, then they wouldn't be sweat. They'd love it. Like, keep
They'd be
going,
like,
guys.
"Oh,
Yeah.
More.
let me
Keep
show
stalling,
those tier
keep
5
stalling.
items.
Yeah.
I worked a few international, just doing like stuff online, like helping out with their Twitch channel and stuff. And when Alliance had that meta, when Alliance did like the Nature's Prophet, like 2-hour games or 90-minute games or whatever, I was just like, this is the worst thing I've ever watched in my life.
Rat Dota.
Rat Dota, just
Swedish
it was
Rat
terrible.
Dota.
Oh my god! And I was like, these people are Swedish, but I'm not proud of them, not in the slightest. that was brutal. You're just sitting there for 80 minutes waiting for them to do something. Anyway, Plat Chat Overwatch episode 214. Pretty straightforward episode. Good to have all of you guys back. I do want to do some housekeeping here before this episode. I realized that if you've been following Plat Chat, the release times have been a bit all over the place. We have some Friday episodes, Wednesday episodes, Thursday episodes, different times. So I do apologize for that, but that comes with having different guests on. It's hard to schedule the episodes, but we hope to bring some consistency. So I realize that's been the case. Today we're going to chat about OWCS. We got Korea group stage been kicking off. AVRL, I know you've been following that a ton. We had the North American and EMEA qualifiers taking place. Lots of drama involved in that. But before we get to that,
Send the rocket. Send the rocket.
I have to apologize. This is going to be the worst thing I've probably done in 214 episodes.
He's going to do the gritty. Oh, no. Okay.
Fortnite dance.
The things I do for money, I tell you guys. Top of the morning to ya. This episode is brought to you by the St. Patrick's Day Shamrock Shavers Manscaped. This year, don't just chase the rainbows. Make your own pot of gold and groom your little leprechaun with the leaders in below the kilt care. Say goodbye to your clover forest with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and let your confidence shine bright. Embrace the luck of the Irish and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com and use code PLATCHAT for 20% off plus free shipping for St. Patrick's Day in 2024. Yeah, sorry. They gave me the script. This was what I wanted. So there you go. I could keep going if you want to. Do you want me to keep going or no? I think that's...
No.
What?
First of all, Jules, you are the closest person to being Irish here. What did you think of that?
Actually, I am Irish.
Oh, wait, Jinx.
You're not Irish.
Oh, yeah, you actually?
my mom's side of the family is from Ireland.
All right, go on then. Give us
Immigrated-
your Irish rating.
One of the potato famine immigrants was my.
Wait, okay, wait. I got more. Jake,
Okay,
I'm going to post this in Discord. Your turn, buddy.
Oh, okay.
All right,
go on.
I'll give it to you. Let's
Okay.
see. I don't think I can do much of an Irish accent, but I'll try. Oh.
It's like an 80-year-old man.
Ever since I used Manscaped, I can proudly say I found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Meet your new lucky charm for St. Patrick's Day, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This trimmer comes with 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, one for a classic trim, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. Equipped with dual LED spotlights, navigate your shamrock patch in peace. Worried you'll make a mess? Fear not. This wonder is waterproof. Shaved by the misty moors under a waterfall, or even during a rain dance. Its compact case makes it an ideal companion, ready for any adventure or last-minute plans. Trimming the hedges in your Irish garden isn't just for below the belt. Complete your look with Manscaped's signature Beard Hedger Pro Kit, plus Handyman Electric Face Shaver. Whether you're sculpting your beard or cleaning up your neckline, these are always the right tools for the job. Thank you.
You sound like you sound like an Irish person who lives in Boston. That's the feeling I got.
Actually, yeah.
I feel like my accent was drifting back and forth as I was.
It was better than Johnny's. Put it that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Speaking of Johnny, I'm gonna be real about something. When Johnny started grabbing his crotch, I was like, oh shit, he's about to give us a live demonstration.
Yeah.
I thought I was immediately went to the moist critical clip. It's like he's getting his cock out. Like I was like, it's happening.
Oh my god, they'll have to pay me a lot more for that. Look, everyone has a price, Manscaped, but
Next episode, live demonstration on stream with Johnny.
Yeah, maybe I'll bring out the nose streamer or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'll be in touch with them. Oh god, thank you, Jake. That was phenomenal. Well, one of the sponsorees of all time. Fantastic. I deeply apologize to all the Irish people who are watching this episode, but yeah, use code PLATCHAT for 20% off plus free shipping. Oh, that's out of the way. I'm sorry about that. All right. So I'm actually going to
right about doing an Irish accent.
Something feels very wrong about hearing one from you.
I'm going to change up the script here a little bit. I'm going to start on a lighter note. So we're going to jump into the drama, but let's start with the Cowboy Bebop news that came out here, Solomon and Jake. You were ecstatic on the social media. I saw
this
you.
This is like one of the shows that one of the first animes I really got into and like watched all through. And for me, it's just such an iconic brand and like the identity of the characters. In many ways, I feel like it's a great partnership for Overwatch because the characters are just such strong personalities and so unique. And I think that really fits in the universe of Overwatch. I don't know. I'm just super excited for this one in particular. I like the One Punch Man collab, but for me, this is like even cooler. Such nostalgia for me for sure.
It felt like they were testing the water with One Punch Man, and this is the one they were like, "Oh, we can really go for this." You know what I mean? Like the character, they look. Oh, it's just like you said, the perfect characters for the show that transform into Overwatch characters. Like, yeah, man, it is so sick, and I'm so happy that they're doing this too, because not only big collab equal, good for the game, money, etc., but it's like they're willing to change the characters so much within the game, because it felt like a lot of the time they were too scared to kind of like modify the characters too much, but now they're really just pushing about it's like, this is Cowboy Bebop, Cowboy Bebop and Overwatch, not just like it's Overwatch with a flavor of this. It feels like, boom, this is Cowboy Bebop in the game. It's so cool.
AVRL, you got a take?
So better than the One Punch Man collaboration.
I mean, that was a big one. That was a very successful one.
I like that one. Too.
I wouldn't know. There's no
mind. I've never seen
lagging for
Cowboy Bebop.
anybody
That
else?
crazy? That's probably crazy. I'm not a huge anime guy.
Oh, there you go. You're good now. You're good. Carry on.
Just my Australian ping. Just my ping. But yeah, I mean, I guess this time the difference is that it's not Overwatch characters cosplaying. Like you're saying, Jules, these are the actual characters, so I guess maybe it's a little different that way.
Yeah, they tried it with One Punch Man, and everybody was like, "When's the next? Is there going to be more collabs?" And it's like, wow, there you go. It's actually like not only a huge collab, but like people are going to be fucking hyped for this shit. Like free to play,
Faye
massive
Valentine
W.
Ooh, we're rocking.
Every collab, by the way, I think does huge numbers in terms of sales.
Yeah, of course.
Pretty sure this collab as well. You're going to see it. It'll be top 10 Steam sales again.
I wouldn't be surprised if this collab, like in the game, in terms of game metrics, is one of the highest selling skins of all time. Like,
wait, did they announce the skins?
Well, I assume it's just those skins. Right?
I assume it's.
I haven't read the blog post. If there was a blog post, I only saw the trailer.
I see a Wrecking Ball skin.
Who's bottom right? Is that Tracer? Who's bottom right?
Sombra.
I think.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Sombra skin.
Yo, Sombra's second collab skin in a row?
Oh wow.
Which fits the character so much better than like a Tracer, like Sombra.
So what about is it Cass, Ash, Ball,
Mauga? I assume Mauga and Sombra.
That
Mauga Sombra.
Yeah.
I thought it was Ryan. I saw a big thing that looked like Ryan.
I think that's
Nah,
Bob.
he's got his two giant guns in the trailer.
I think that's
that was
Ash's
Bob?
The thing
okay.
you
I was
think
like,
looks like Ryan, because I thought that too, and then I realized I think that might be Bob.
Yeah, it's Bob. Yeah, 100%.
Because you can see it has like a gun. I think.
Man, it's so sick.
But I think for me, I mean, I guess it depends, like your shows and stuff. But for me, this series just has such nostalgia, and these characters are so instantly recognizable. I think that's true of One Punch Man, but One Punch Man is so centered on One Punch Man, on Saitama, that like, that's like the most compelling skin, and the other characters are more minor characters. But
yeah,
for this, it's like a whole cast of characters that all fit together, which I love.
So sick. I'm curious if they're going to have any kind of special voice lines, like a lot of some other skins we've seen that have had local voice lines, not like in the game. When you're in the game, you'll hear like the default for enemy, etc. But like locally, I wonder if you're going to hear anything different from the characters. If they say even just like a couple of different voice lines that are added on, like for using a role or whatever. I'm curious if they're going to do something like that. Yeah, it's so sick, man. So cool. There's Bob. Look at Bob, bro. Holy
Bob.
He's sick.
That looks
very cool.
Sick.
The Bob is awesome.
It's just, for me, this is like a throwback to my childhood, I guess. So that's why it's so special to me versus something else. But I love seeing this Overwatch cloud. I mean, I think this is just another symbol of how much the dev team has like opened up, and like their willingness to try new things and partner with new people and not be, closed off about what the game can be. I think that's kind of speaks to a trend that I've been seeing for the last couple of years with Overwatch. and I think is going to continue. And I'm just super excited about it. I think it's more than this is exciting, but it also speaks to a larger trend that is kind of even more makes me even more bullish about the game.
Yeah, and you can't really do that anymore. You can't be like so closed off when every single game under the sun has like giant collabs. Like even I know this is very popular on Steam, but like Dead by Daylight has like a ton of like literal old movie collabs, like Stranger Things, and like stuff like that.
Almost every horror movie has some kind of collab.
Exactly.
Dead by Daylight, right?
They have Attack on Titan in there as well. Like there's so many like anime collabs or like just generic movie kind of collabs too, and like there's something you need to do for a game, and Overwatch 2 doing this is perfect. I'm super excited for this, man. Yeah, it's going to be so cool. I'm curious what other kind of media they launch around this too, because I saw Crunchyroll also tweeting about it as well, which is really sick.
Yeah, I saw that Apex did that Final Fantasy collab, which is obviously a bit different, but you had a Buster Sword and stuff in there, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, they're doing Final Fantasy collabs with everybody right now. It feels like it's kind of awesome.
Oh,
they're doing a Magic the Gathering.
I saw the new game released.
Next year. And the new game, of course. But yeah, they're collaborating with everybody. The MTG set is going to be like a full set too, like the Lord of the Rings one was as well. It's really awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's sick. I think we're finally at the point, or I don't know, maybe I should have realized this last year, where like you're like, okay, the Overwatch franchise, we're trucking on, we're going to see a lot more collabs. Like at this point, you're like, this is part of the live service game now, that Overwatch is going to do these partnerships with these collaborations, and like Jake said, it instills a lot of confidence in the game franchise, and things are looking really good in that regard. So very exciting news, and look forward to see the skins. Maybe we'll do a bit of a skin review when we get them. Maybe we could do like a
100%
collaboration skin ranking. People will love that. That'd be a lot of fun. That's what we specialize here on Plat Chat. Okay, so crack our fingers. Let's get into the big drama that happened this past week, and the reason why AVRL has this little background there with M80. The Overwatch scene just never ceases to amaze and to surprise.
Those are words for it. Disappoint is the
disappoint?
word.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant. Obviously in a negative connotation here. Not at all in any way, shape, or form a positive connotation, but in a negative connotation. It just, so Miss List, we're going to use some of their work, because they did a great write-up about the timeline of all of these things. This past week, I was actually at my in-laws, so I was away on vacation. I wasn't that up to date with everything that dropped on, but I was on my phone or whatever and saw that this viewer OW person posted screenshots from Sam, OG, and Mikey's private messages. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but the kind of theory is that this happened during World Cup. There are some accusations accusations is not the right word, but there's some rumors that like the French World Cup team or something, like someone from that cohort found these Discord users logged in, went through them and found these and took pictures of it, which were then, obviously sent to viewer OW, and they showcased these just terrible, awful messages using the N-word. And so consequently, of course, M80, who had just picked up the roster with these players, they were dropped immediately. A lot of them are just gone from the space now, like OG and Mikey. Sam posted an apology right before we started recording this one. It's a very short and concise apology, but nonetheless put out a tweet out there. Someone who was a bit more in tune here with when this kind of like unfolded. Do you guys have any kind of like opinion or like how this kind of like went down at the time it happened?
I mean, the only thing I'll say besides the actual content of the messages and like sort of the seriousness of that is the way of it getting released, where if somebody does this at World Cup, they number one find somebody logged in on Discord and go search Control F racial slurs in their Discord, which is just, I think that's interesting. But in the end they found this, so I guess it wasn't that crazy. And then to save it right before roster lock, to me is like, that's a little scummy. Like if you're doing this because you think that people are doing something wrong and we want to expose them, I think that's like perfectly legit. But then why are you sitting on it for months? Like, so to me there's like some ulterior motive of like some revenge or screwing over people, which I think caused people to get caught in the crossfire, which is to say these players' teammates who may have done nothing wrong and presumably didn't know about any of this stuff, and playing with these players, and now they're like kind of blowing up their teams days before roster lock, or screwing over like people like who are coaching. Like McGravy was coaching this team, and it's like he's like, okay, now I have to, good luck, I got to find a job now, with no, and that's not his fault, right? He didn't really do anything wrong in the scenario. He's innocent, and yet he's getting screwed over because whoever chose to release this did it with an ulterior motive of like screwing over people. Versus, I think there is a legitimate motive of like, hey, let's like expose people who are doing something wrong. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not criticizing that at all. But then why sit on these things? Like, why not release that as soon as you find it?
I think you can have that opinion both ways, right? You can be like, this should have been released like after World Cup immediately, right?
If you found this and you wanted to expose
despicable behavior. This is just completely unacceptable from the players involved using slurs like this, and the way they used it. It's just completely unacceptable, right? But you can also show some sympathy to people like McGravy, for example, who, especially in this year, where it is really hard to get work, it's really hard to find some kind of income, and so maybe you take this chance, you get picked up by an organization, and you see some kind of like light at the end of the tunnel, you're like, this could be my opportunity, and to get screwed over like this. You can show sympathy to McGravy and others in his situation, but also you can be like, this is just completely unacceptable behavior from OG, Sam, and Mikey. These are like, they use the N-word, but in an extremely like derogatory and unacceptable way. So I mean, it's completely unacceptable. But yeah, you can have both of that opinion. So after this, McGravy posts, he's trying to find replacements for the team. But there's the Rostermania all over the place. Teams go their separate ways. So you can see here McGravy looking for flex DPS. He's trying his hardest, because again, if you got M80 at your side, you're like, god damn it, Bad Pachimari. You're like, okay, I have this org contact, I'm trying to put together this team for this org. Like you desperately need to make something happen, right? Then the YFP disbands an hour before the match on March 1st, which is tons of skilled players as well. They're trying to put together a roster, and this is all right before the qualifiers as well. So it's just all over the place. And I guess this kind of like settles before the qualifiers kick off, and you're seeing like lots of retirements. Kalush retired, for example. Kalush retiring was unrelated to this incident, I believe he said as well, and that's worth saying. But as this kind of like settles down, there's a few rosters that are being put together. So M8, they sign a new team. We can bring that team. Yeah, this was the rumor tweet, and then
before that, really quick.
Yeah.
There's one thing that didn't get added to this timeline, and I believe this is I think this is like 80% sure. It might need a bit of a fact check, but I'll just say it because I'm pretty sure this is how it went down. But when Kaluj also then retired, I believe subsequently after that, they lost UV to Hawks teams. Then they lost another place. They essentially lost 3 players in a row. And that's what I think actually killed the team. It's just like, you've lost 3 players, and then M80's like, I'm out, or something like that. I don't know. Like at some point, you're like, you can't replace everybody. And so I think that had something to do with it as well. I'm pretty sure the timeline was that UV left before the roster blew up, and that might have been the final straw. Not saying it was his fault, obviously, it's just a lot of shit going on. I think he realized, like, oh, this new roster is probably going to be worse, and if I join Hawks team, and Hawks team's about to have, they got Spectre, Pelican, etc., that's going to end up being a better deal. And I'm pretty sure none of them, I don't think any of them realize that M80 might end up switching sides, and that might be something to mention as well. It's like, it's kind of interesting. I don't want to call M80 out too hard, because I like orgs, and I want orgs to be here, and I want them to feel welcome, but man, they kind of just like monkey branched over to the next best roster, which ended up being an upgrade like really quickly. It's just like, oh, we'll just take this team. It's like, yeah, we're gonna leave. This is unacceptable. We're gonna leave. And then
they're in a situation where they need. They just dropped an entire team, and then you're like, you need extra bits. So it's like, well, there's this whole team here, like, and the matches.
No, I know why they did it. I know why they did it, but I'm saying is like, if you look at it from McGravy side of things, he's like, I could have built them that roster. I could have built the roster they wanted anyway. They never gave me the chance. From McGravy's POV, he basically said he only had 24 hours with the org. He never got to talk to the org. Ironically, it was actually Sam who brokered the deal between the org and the team. And so obviously that link was gone because of the reasons we discussed. And McGravy's just sitting there like, what can I do? Like, everything's just fallen down. And then he, Seeker, and Liar ended up being the ones losing out here. And Hawk's team gained, and UV he kept the org. He was the only returning member of the org. Those teams. But it kind of sucks for McGravy and Seeker and Liar, because like, especially from what McGravy's saying, like he's basically saying like, you know, he could have given M80 what they wanted, but he ended up being cut out.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. Like I said, like, you know, you're really trying to make it work, right? And if you can get org support in this day and age, like there's only a few orgs involved, right? Like you do the best you can. So McGravy got ultimately screwed here. But that's the new roster just above there as well.
Yes, sir.
So M8, the Overwatch, it is a sick roster. Like I'm not gonna lie, it is a sick roster.
Ridiculous.
So you got Gator and Hawk. Gator's the coach, but you got Hawk as your tank, and you got Pelican, Hydron, Spectra as your DPS, Ultraviolet, Renko, and Lep as your support. I mean, I'm a huge fan of this roster. I think they're gonna do great things. So M80 ended up with a really good
Stacked.
roster.
I wonder if they managed to get Pelican back because M80 was maybe incoming. Because based on knowledge, I think this is relatively public by now. Pelican and Spectra are slated to be getting US visas and relocating back into the US to play in low ping. So that's part of what this org is bringing to the team, which is super valuable for the team. If you're going to have imports, ideally they're not playing on giga ping. They're actually playing, you know, on low ping.
A mad W from M80 doing that. Like, especially this early on in a scene or in a system that has not been, or like not had a proof of concept or anything. Not a proof of concept, not had like a trial run or anything, because we've just come out of Overwatch League. For a team and an org, sorry, to actually pick up Korean players that need visas and then bring them over I think that's insane. I think that's sick. I didn't think we'd actually end up seeing something like that. I thought we'd end up seeing Korean players playing on ping in Korea. So for ME to actually do that, I think that shows real dedication to the scene as well. I think, which is really cool. And I think, yeah, I mean, there have been how many team? Obviously, we'll just go through the teams in a minute, but a lot of like grassroots orgs that have also been in the game before that are coming back too. It's really sick.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my god, the Spitfire Twitter.
I don't know if that was necessary.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a yikes.
Yeah, I don't know if that was necessary.
But I mean, also it's like, I don't know. It's very. I guess it's a joke, you know, so I shouldn't take it too seriously. But it's just obviously misleading. This is not totally unrelated to why Overwatch League died.
Yeah,
Bro logged into the London Spitfire account one last time to drop one last game, you know?
Ride, baby.
Where's my password manager? I log in
Before,
real quick.
I don't know if we're about to move on or not, but before we do, I just want to say one more thing about this controversy that I think is important. And it should be one of the main takeaways. There's like not much to add to what the players, Sam, Mikey, and OG did, because I think everyone just agrees it's really bad all around. Like, it's extremely disappointing. It's bad. It's nothing redeemable about it. And you know, these kind of things should not be happening in our community. Unfortunately, it seems like it happens way too often, and that needs to stop. But the important thing to note here is that two things can be wrong at the same time. I think what Jake said earlier is very important to note, because I think both sides are pretty scummy. And just to be extra clear about this, because I don't want anyone to misunderstand, it's also not a comparison or competition between what's worse. I don't think we're here to discuss what's worse. No one's, you know, it doesn't really matter what's worse. What needs to be pointed out is that multiple things can be bad at the same time. And the leak side, as Jake said, it's honestly quite nefarious. I think anyone saying, oh, maybe the French players just like happened to walk past and maybe the N-word just happened to show up on screen and they're like, oh, I'm so cool and moral, I'm just gonna screenshot this, and then, you know, oh, but you know, I'm gonna hold on to this for 4 months and I won't post it now. I mean, that's just the biggest cope in the world. You can't prove this 100%, but I'm like 99% sure, just based on motive alone, that the French players actively went into the Discord, which was open, but then they actively had to search these terms and look for these terms with not moral standpoints. I don't think they did this for moral reasons at all. I think they did this to weaponize screenshots and to use this as ammunition to take down players / the NA scene in general. And again, it's not in any way to defend what the players did, because that is truly awful. But I don't believe for a second that the French players that did this did it for any sort of moral reason whatsoever, because, and it's extremely easy to prove motive. And the motive that you can prove here is if they actually cared about the racism, they would have posted it straight away. They would have given that info over straight away. They would have given it over to Blizzard. They would have allowed it to go through official channels. They would have allowed it to happen at the World Cup or immediately after the World Cup. And it's just like, if you are going to hold on to this information for 4 months, either they held on to it for 4 months, or the leaker on Twitter held on to it for 4 months, and then you tactically decide to leak it at the exact moment of the day that roster lock happens, then your motive is to do as much collateral damage to the NA scene as possible. But we nearly lost 2 orgs for this. We still kind of half lost an org. YFP said they might come back. We almost entirely lost M80. I thought M80 was gone. Like, I was really like, bro, we just got a decent
It would have been very
organ.
reasonable if M80 was just like, whoa, this was a fucked up incident. Like, we don't want any part of this.
That would have. That is extremely bad for Overwatch. Just like, you guys, like, that's just like, that goes beyond any sort of individual pettiness. I don't know if they just had something out against individual plays, but you're impacting everyone in North America, but also the Overwatch scene generally speaking. When we've talked about the fact that guys like McGravy, Seeker, Lie end up getting caught in the crossfire, you have half the YFP roster getting caught in the crossfire, you have 2 orgs that decide to leave. Like, this goes way bigger than individual people. If the French players actually cared about anything, they would have posted this at a better time that wouldn't have done massive damage. But I think their goal, based on what you can tell by the motive, was to do collateral damage, and that's extremely fucking scummy.
Yeah, I think ultimately the blame has to rest with the players who did this stuff, because right, if there was nothing to find, nothing happens. You know what I mean? Like players can be as nefarious as they want to be and wanting to screw people over as much as they want, but if no one had been using racial slurs with their friends egregiously many times over and over again, then there's nothing to find. Then this doesn't exist, right? You can look all you want, but if your conduct is above reproach, then it doesn't matter what someone wants to do to you, because your conduct is above reproach. And so ultimately, you know, like you said, it's silly to have a competition about what's worse, but it's clear that like the blame rests with the individuals who actually did this stuff, who actually use racial slurs and like think it's funny. You know, I think in this day and age, it's just, you know, some things are beyond the pale. And I think part of being a professional and like wanting to be an esports player is realizing that your conduct is going to be examined. And sure, maybe you don't expect like your private messages to also be to that standard, but really, you know, you should be holding yourself to that standard at all times. It shouldn't just be about when people are watching you. You know, like I understand like people, when you're like a kid, you're stupid and you don't know, and or maybe you want to do the most taboo things possible because you think it's funny or something like that. But then these are not, you can't just use the kid excuse, right? These people, they played in the Overwatch League. They had extensive, you know, media training, and maybe not extensive for everyone, but certainly they know that, you know, your conduct is analyzed, that you're you know, somebody that a bunch of people are going to look up to because you're in this position of authority. And so it's even more important that you kind of take that seriously and mature and behave in a way that you would be okay with people seeing.
This is something that I've addressed previously as well. I remember a few years ago we had a Plat Chat episode, and it was right after some of the Dallas Fuel, when Dallas Fuel picked up the Korean roster of Fearless, and those guys Fielder, and they relocated them to Dallas. And for that Plat Chat episode, one of the topics had been that those Dallas Fuel players had expressed that they actually experienced some racism within Dallas. They were walking the street, and this might have been during COVID or something like that as well. And they were like, people would like tell them like, hey, you know, what the fuck's going on with COVID? This is your fault or something like that. Like they experienced racism in Dallas, right? And I addressed at that point as well that, you know, growing up on countryside Sweden, like there was some really awful, weird behavior from similar people in my age group and, you know, sometimes around my circle of friends. But that I don't think that excuses the fact that you can actually like reflect on your own behavior and how your behavior, how your words, and how your actions impact other people, whether they're harmful, or whether you're, you know, using language at their expense, maybe, you know, because you think it's funny or whatever. But you can actually reach the moral conclusion very early in your teenage life that like, hey, this is wrong. This is actually this is language and actions which I don't want to be associated with. And so I don't really buy that argument that you can go like, oh, these are just like 20-year-olds or whatever, like, you know, and they didn't realize the consequences of their own actions. Like, I actually think it's pretty fair to expect you know, teenagers to realize, you know, what is good and what are bad I don't know if ethics is the right word, but to realize that you know, whether it's private or public, it doesn't matter whether you think some of these actions will be, you know, public or not. Like you should be able to behave yourself in a private setting with some of your closest friends and speak up for what you think is right and wrong, and make the conclusion about whether some of your actions or language is right or wrong. And so I don't think this is acceptable in any way. I don't think it's redeemable in any way, and I think there is a bit of a problem with this in the Overwatch space, and that we have to go through all this over and over again, it feels like. So
I see this as a problem that exists across gaming, honestly. Like gaming is an online space where people are anonymous, and you know, you can kind of get away with anything. I mean, like you said, Johnny, like when I grew up, when I was playing games and I was like you know, a kid, like 12, 13, 14, starting to play online games and playing with people. I mean, people were egregious. I thought, like, I mean, just this is bad, but like my context was like, oh, if I'm not using a racial slur is like a high standard, and that for me to do that, I'm like, okay, I'm holding myself to that. But things of like attacking people over like using like mental health or other slurs like the R word, you know, that was kind of normal to me growing up, and I had to like educate myself and realize that, okay, this is not okay, and I'm gonna stop and change who I am, you know, because I'm 12 years old. I don't know any better, right? But you can figure it out, you know, by the time you get older, right? Like
definitely
you can be exposed to that type of language, and that can be around you, and you can still make a choice to change and be better. And yeah, it's just, you know, I think it's crucial that we take that super seriously, because it is like a very pervasive issue in gaming. I'll still to this day,
if anything,
see people using slurs and stuff in gaming.
If anything, you know, maybe this is a cope take, but the fact that it's been more brought to light in Overwatch maybe just shows that Overwatch as a community has been better at finding this information out and calling it out and addressing it, which, you know, maybe it's a silver lining that we can be able to look at it positively. It shouldn't be happening, but you know, the fact that we're maybe effective as a community at finding it is maybe the silver lining that we can be slightly proud of. But the final thing I'll say about it is again, to reiterate, because this is a very sensitive topic and I don't want anyone to get the wrong message here. Just remember, guys, two things can be wrong at the same time, and it's important to recognize that, you know, multiple things are wrong here, and that it's not a competition between what is more wrong and what is less wrong. Everything is wrong. No one defends the players involved. No one defends the NA players. They all, you know, they all deserve what's coming, what has happened to them, what comes to them, whatever it is. The only thing that, from my perspective, is that it should have happened a long time ago. This should have happened when the information was discovered, and it shouldn't have been held on to. That's the most important thing here, because the collateral damage that it's done is what really pisses me off, beyond what the actual actions of the players have just done. Because the action by the players, that should only impact themselves. There shouldn't be this level of collateral damage, and this level of collateral damage is done by a different party. You know, you can't deny that they had a hand in it. That's the part that people need to remember as well. But yeah, multiple things can be wrong here, guys.
All right, I think it's pretty well said, and I think we covered the topic pretty adequately there. It's obviously awful whenever a news item like this comes out, and unfortunately it happens to come out. I almost feel like once a year, pretty much, and so it's always terrible whenever it does happen, but I feel like we covered it pretty well there. So want to move on here to the qualifiers that actually did take place. We can start out with the North American scene and some of the teams that did advance. It was a Swiss stage. I believe it's 8. Is it 8 matches? It was 8 matches that took place, or something like that. And we saw some good matchups, like Toronto Defiant. They played EMEA, for example, in the qualifiers. Costa tried his heart out. They really went for it. The washed up crew. But I believe they ended up taking 3 losses or something like that. And I think they peaked at like rank 69 or something. But there you go. Here are the groups tweeted out by the Esports account. We got Group A here with Toronto Defiant, Daybreak, Shikigami, and Final Gambit. We got Group B.
Some of these groups are brutal.
Yeah. Group B with LFO, Luminosity, Bang Bang Pow Galaxy, and Citrus Nation. That's one of the names of all time.
I will say, just before we move on as well, I'm so happy we're getting some of these random names again. Like, it's so funny just seeing the most random team names of all time. Citrus Nation also is a very good name.
I love Citrus Nation. It's just fun to say.
Galaxy is sick.
Yeah.
It's such a good name. You know what we should do? Plat Chat power rankings, but we rank the names of the teams that are like non-org affiliated. So like we don't do
I'd
timeless
win.
or an MET or
That's
anything
one of the
like
names
that.
of the teams.
No, I'd
That'd be
win.
sick.
That's pretty funny. Timeless, M80, and Obsidian in the Group C.
Use that.
That's a pretty brutal group, it feels like, right there. And
Yeah.
Group 2, we got Beluga's Platoon, Students of the Game,
Students of the
Pip, which is
game.
Pirates in Pajamas, and Dreamland.
Kirby's
So,
Dreamland.
there you go.
Let's acknowledge. I
Groups.
just want to acknowledge as well that Toronto Defiant were the only team in NA to go completely flawless. So they went 9-0. I believe everyone played 9 matches, and Toronto Defiant were the only team in NA that went 9-0. And there was only one team in EMEA. We'll talk about that later. That went 9-0 as well. That was Twisted Minds. So only 2 teams across NA and EMEA went full 9-0. Everyone else lost to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, Toronto looks giga stacked. For me, it's like the new M80 roster is kind of the only team that I think can really go against them.
They're so stacked.
for me.
Oh my god.
Like,
Yeah.
Pull someone
Vega,
from
for people who
there,
don't know, I think
Vega.
is one of the best prospects coming out of NA. And I also think this is very exciting. I think there's a lot of up and coming prospects out of NA that are really, really strong. But like Sugar Free merits someone, maybe not that strong. It might take a little bit to catch up to these guys because these are all every player here. I mean, they've got three champions from last year, and Sugar Free and Vega, who, I mean, Sugar Free I think had a monster season on a relatively weaker team, but a monster season nonetheless. Was a huge performer on a weak team, which is even harder than looking good on a champion team, right? Like even more impressive for me in some ways from an individual, especially on DPS. And then Vega, I think, is the biggest question mark, but from my perspective, he's also one of the most exciting prospects out of NA. Keeps the youth, that I think that young culture and mentality of grinding really hard is part of what led Florida Mayhem to their success last year. And I think they're continuing to build on that by bringing in these, new prospect players. Like, I don't think you want to rely too much on the veterans, and this roster strikes a very, very impressive balance.
Do we
I think
do we
they did really
know?
well.
Do we know if someone in Merit are in Toronto yet? Are they both there right now?
I think they did. I think I saw pictures on Twitter of them in the airport, which I assume meant they
I
arrived
think
in Toronto.
they waited to start screaming until they were actually there. I could
Yeah.
be wrong
Oh.
about that, but they
Yeah.
started screaming when they got to the country. I
That-
could be wrong on that, but
That definitely helps them over, the WD-40s and M80s, who their Koreans are still playing on ping. So I think Toronto Defiant, they obviously were the quickest movers in the scene. They were the only established org at the time at the start of, quote-unquote preseason. So they made the moves quickly. They got their players over quickly. They started scrimming quickly, and, you can see the difference it makes. So they get rewarded for that by being first seed.
In Kasaurus and Danny as well. I mean, Kasaurus has been around for a long time. Was on Shock, right, under the tutelage of that like world class coaching squad with Krusty and whatnot. So that's pretty sick too. And yeah, I'm happy as well, just in general, that Toronto Defiant as a team is still around, which is really sick. I was curious if any like Overwatch League team was going to carry on. So I'm glad that there's at least a one here keeping the branding and stuff too. 'Cause, I mean, hey, the colors are sick too. Just saying, the black
and I
on
mean,
the gray on the
oh,
red.
I remember you used to wear that. You love
Yeah,
that
I would-
swag.
I've got it somewhere. I don't know where
Yeah.
the fuck it is, but yeah, I
He's got
Dallas
fuel on right now.
Yeah, I only wear
fuel on
clothes,
right
people.
now, yeah.
If you want me to wear stuff on Plat Chat, you know what I'm saying? Just sling over.
Yeah, I saw YFP. They're picking up content creators.
There we go.
I
baby.
might have to reach out.
Send me a YFP
Ex
hoodie.
Oblivion is trying to find someone as well. So
Yeah, well, I guess we'll talk about that in a minute. But Ex Oblivione, one of the people that invested into the team is the voice actor of Brig.
that's
which
true. I
is
forgot that. Yeah.
ridiculous. Like, how sick is that? It's one of the coolest investments from like an outside investment into a team I think I've seen so far.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very pog.
Like, actual Brig. That is Brig
Yeah,
right there.
actual Brig.
That is literal Brig. That's cool as
Real
fuck.
Real
life
Swedish
Brig.
person. Actual Swede.
Brigitte.
Brigitte. So cool,
Yeah, this
man.
is awesome. Yeah, this is awesome. And I believe they tweeted out as well, like Sublivione, that they're trying to like double down, like they're trying to make an effort. I don't know, it might have been like a week ago or something, but they were like, we're really doubling down on this organization. There you go. Overwatch community person, deeply ingrained in the esports scene, recently unemployed, Overwatch streams 4 days a week, and all that. Yeah, so can run D&D content games with our creators and players.
Oh wait, that sounds kind of sick. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, guys? Out of this panel, I am the only one that's recently unemployed. So,
Okay, I wasn't going to make the joke, but okay. I'm glad you made it for me. Okay.
God damn. Any unemployed people here? No, just me. Don't worry about it.
Someone,
good, all
I'm
good.
not gonna call them out, but someone messaged me this morning. Like I woke up to this Discord message, and someone just messaged me and was like, "Hey, I can't wait to see you on broadcast tomorrow." And I was like, "I got bad news for you.
Yeah, it'll be a while for me and Johnny.
sorry, Cody.
We're waiting
First
in
of
the
all,
wings.
no broadcast. Second of all, I'll see you in a few weeks.
They're saving us, Johnny. We're special, okay? We're special.
You can't have too much of us at the same time.
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah, we're very exclusive.
Yeah, very exclusive.
Please
So,
let me work more days.
Anyway, it's
So
not
real
about
for
me
that,
and Jake.
actually.
Avril, do you have any interest? Should we make this happen? Is it a match made in heaven?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I guess I'll just have to hit Matilda up and see what's going on, you know.
Let's go.
Yeah,
see if
the
I can join
coder.
up.
Yep. Sounds good.
Or we do that
we'll see
with
about
Plat
that.
Chat. Get a Plat Chat team, baby. Look how many free teams there are without orgs, bro.
Yeah, do you want to do
we
accounting,
could
mate?
have
Do you
had
want to do the
Falcons,
managing?
guys.
We could take
We could have
these
had
guys.
hands.
We
We
could
could have
take
had
I can
these
do it.
guys.
I can do it.
I would,
can't
but
pay.
it'd have to involve starting a fucking esports team, which I'm not sure I want to do in this day and age in 2024. Maybe this is the bottom. Maybe I should get in now, but
You know what?
I
Matt
know.
keeps saying.
Can't
I'm
pay
not good about it.
anything.
Matt keeps
so
saying he wants to do
it's
new
just for
Plat
clout.
Chat things, and here we go. Here's the new Plat
Yeah,
Chat
there you
thing.
go. Just convince Matt, bro. Get him to fund it. He's like a millionaire, bro. Just get him to fund it, man.
I think he's the
my-
richest person. Yeah.
It's the
for
mob connections. We got the
Yeah,
mob.
exactly, the mob.
Matt's New Jersey mob ties to sponsor us.
There you go. Look, Team Plat Chat Manscaped WD-40. What a ring! What a ring to the name.
Oh
That's-
yeah.
That's
real.
unbelievable.
Do you use the Manscaped and the WD-40 at the same time, or those separately?
Well,
applied
ideally
or-
use them separately. On the
Okay,
on
right,
the
right.
instructions, it says you probably shouldn't use WD-40.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
saying, Johnny.
I don't know if we
That's
pick
how
up
they
that
get those
happening
squad.
here.
warnings on products. That's like window screen. Do not eat this.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I just realized Luminosity Gaming. When did they come in? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, they
When did we
they
get
partnered
that?
with
When did we get
Maryville.
that?
Partnered with Maryville.
Yeah.
When?
Very exciting.
Was it
A couple days
yesterday?
ago. I think 2 days ago. Yesterday.
Oh my god, I didn't even
yesterday,
see
yeah. There
that.
you go. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I was on the last LG Overwatch team before this.
Oh.
Super Bowl, I've asked.
Yeah,
Jake.
yeah. Super Bowl, Avast, me, Rob 420, or what's it? What did he had to become Rob Dab. 420 is a little frowned upon. He got Cool Matt 69.
Yeah. But this is a good squad. I watched a couple of their scrims and like this is a really good team. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great partnership. Obviously super stacked. You know, great. They got Unter as the head coach of this team, and they're stacked in every department. So this is a
Yeah.
great pickup
Hell
from
yeah.
Luminosity.
I think it's exciting for the future of this scene too, because I think collegiate is going to be a
Oh
crucial
my god, the throwback
element,
on these names. Icefelt.
right? Look at that.
Mineral
Wait, I was
Clip,
never on the
Super
main
Pluke.
Super
LG
Pluke.
roster, so it doesn't have us here.
Jake
Super
was
Pluke
on
had,
the.
like,
We were
He was
LG
on the
evil.
We're
So,
pretty
yeah,
much
he
he's gonna
was-
be the best Reinhardt in
I
the
think
game.
we lasted longer than the regular LG.
Oh my goodness.
Super Jake, Rob 420, bro. There he is.
Yeah.
Train on your team. Is that Train Rex? Who's that?
No, that's Train, bro. That's Train, the Maple Story King.
Wow, what a throwback. What a throwback. Yeah, Luminosity, welcome back. It's a good squad. Let's cover some of the other organizations that picked up squads in North America. Obviously, M80, we already covered them. Okay, that was the only ones. No, never mind. Sorry.
I mean,
there were no more organizations.
Just
We
three
talked about
orgs, right?
Toronto.
I mean,
It's 3 orgs,
Timeless
right?
is still
Yeah.
around, of course, and they've got a team here. So you
Sure,
know,
yeah,
they
no,
keep
that's
us
fair,
on
that's
the
fair.
wing.
I'm
That's
curious looking at the 2 Timeless rosters, actually.
Yeah.
Timeless Obsidian too. Yeah,
Yeah, let's see the main roster for. Well,
Obsidian's got Dove on it.
Yep.
yeah, I mean Obsidian is interesting, but I think Timeless looks like the stronger roster to
Yeah.
me, like the main
Rocket
roster.
and Chopper. Wait.
Yeah, these are
those
again
guys.
two super exciting prospects, like Riker as well, playing together. They almost defeated the team that eventually won the Winter Wonderland tournament. I mean, arguably, I think they should have won. They had a major lead and they kind of tossed it, which can happen when you're playing against veterans. I want to be clear. It's like what's the hardest thing to do against a veteran team is to like beat them in the clutch where they're very comfortable and you might not be as a rookie. But clearly, the raw talent is there for these players. Like clearly, they have the potential, and that's all you can really hope for, I guess, out of younger players.
What's the Winter Wonderland tournament? Is that Flash Ops?
Yeah, the Flash Ops
Flash
tourney.
Ops.
Okay.
What was it called? I think
Right.
it was Winter Wonderland. Am I crazy?
Yeah, it was Flash Up. Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah,
just
it was
Flash
a Flash
Ops.
Ops tourney.
The Christmas
Yeah.
sweaters.
That was the subtitle. was.
But then they've got Icy and CJ, and then Opener and Sonjun, which
Yeah, they picked up Opener,
that's
which
exciting.
seemed like Opener was a pretty hot commodity when it came to trialing for teams in North America prior to OWCS. So
Yeah,
Job.
his
I
English
mean-
must be good to be on this team.
is,
I would
it is.
assume.
I've
So
spoken
I
to him
don't
in
know
English.
Opener that well personally, so
In a Lucio meta, you need a good Lucio. I think Opener's
and
very
it's
good
a
player.
Lucio meta.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm excited for students of the game too. Like Infected, Rack, Cal, PGE. I think are very good players.
I don't know Psycho though, honestly. Like I don't really
No.
recognize that.
oh,
name.
that's a
I
throwback.
recognize it.
Hasn't Psycho been around forever?
Yeah, I think he.
Not the
No.
for the
no,
audio
no. There's
listeners?
there's the other
Shoot.
one. Like,
Oh,
the
there's
Yeah,
name.
not the
There's
EU
like the
Psycho.
EU Psycho.
Not the EU Psycho for the audio listeners. Different Psycho
Unless-
we're talking about here.
It's not him, is it?
Is
yeah.
it? Well, he's Norwegian. No, he's not been around for.
I guess. Okay, this guy's from
Unique
Norway, but the,
esports.
the Psycho SEICOE Psycho.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not that
I know.
one.
I know
That's
that's
the other
Psycho.
guy. Yeah.
but
was-
this
This one's
Psycho.
PSYCHO. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoes Money Crew.
with a 0. It looks like.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a zero.
similarly excited
Yeah,
about this about this roster. I've been really impressed by Infected recently.
Infected
So-
is
I
really
think
good.
Infected is, for me, looks like one of the most impressive up and coming tanks in NA.
I agree.
Certainly, I think you can't put him out of the top tier of the up and comers. And then I guess the key question that we're gonna get to answer, which I'm really excited about, is for years Overwatch League is like this thing on an island, and you can't really play, and like the tier 2 teams are like maybe they could beat the bottom teams. Sometimes they win in scrims, but like you never get to see a real match, and you never really get to see the competition between those players and like the established vets. And I feel like this is going to be a super exciting season where I think the teams themselves are validating that these players are incredibly good, because almost every team has like younger up and coming players that weren't Overwatch League veterans. I think that's very like right, like you would have expected maybe to see teams without any up and coming players. Maybe it's all veterans, but literally every single one of these teams has players who hasn't played in the Overwatch League before, and that's not an accident. They're like, that is because they are the best prospects. A team like Toronto Defiant doesn't take Vega because they like can't afford a Overwatch League veteran. They think he's the best player that they can have, and
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
that they might be right about that.
The story behind Vega was he was the guy that everyone was going after mid-season last year, and then the rug pull happened where Vega thought he was old enough to play in the league because they changed it to 17, but then apparently something with the birth date meant that he was no longer eligible, and it just kind of boomed a whole bunch of different teams. I think Shock was going after Vega, and then once that domino fell, Shock ended up going for other options, and then other teams would go for other options. There were like 5 teams all waiting to see where Vega was going to go before they could make their moves. It was really insane, like mid-season stuff happening last year over Vega. So
Now we're all just waiting for
commodity.
Tree to turn 17.
and then Tree's the next guy, and
Tree
Yeah.
is very interesting. I mean, he's like rank 1 right now in DPS. He's been at that level for all. He's kind of like the next Sugar Free, I guess, in terms of player who's been at that level for years. And the only reason they're not on one of the best teams here is because of age. It's not just
speaking of,
inexperience, it's
I noticed one particular roster here among our 16 rosters in NA that only has 5 players instead of 6 or more. So I think could Toronto Defiant be saving a free spot there for Tree when his birthday comes? Like, happy birthday, Tree! We saved you a spot. Welcome.
All
That would
right.
be pretty nasty. Pretty sick DPS line.
I gotta shout out before we move on from Studios of the Game too. I gotta shout out PGE. I tweeted PG's
Dark
Widowmaker.
Lord.
That was crazy. I wasn't familiar with PG's game, so I'm looking forward to see PG play more, because that was some nasty Widowmaker on Circuit Real. So and some good hit scanning in general throughout that scrim. So besides that, I mean, there are so many roster changes. I mean, there's 16 teams, so there's just all over the place. I'm going to ask some categories. So instead of covering all the 16 teams one by one, I'll ask some categories. Okay, so. We'll start out with this one, which is pretty obvious. Easy layup here. Favorite to win it all?
Toronto Defiant.
Custis team.
Toronto.
Yes, Toronto
Custis
Defiant.
team. Blood.
They are
hell,
We got to pull one out for Custis stream team who didn't make it to the top 16.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
we gotta do. Costa
It'd be
tweeted
sick
out
to
like,
see them qual, just to like.
It
play
would be
some
cool to see them
play-ins and stuff.
qualify. I
But
would agree.
I think
Because
I
then
think
we
the
could
competition
cast
is
them,
really
and we
stiff.
could
I
cast
think
them getting crushed, and it would be really
Yeah.
funny. It would be good stream
Oh,
content. I'm
God.
just
the
saying, if you guys
competition is
make it.
really stiff this
Yeah,
year,
it is.
so
yeah,
I think it's gonna be hard.
yeah.
They did
God,
impressively
I'd
well
love to-
though.
6-3.
I would love to
6-3 is not
call
bad.
a legendary Custer Q moment like that. I think that's
A
might be one of
Custer
my
moment.
a Custer moment. That would be a highlight of my career if I managed to get a cast where Scott fat fingers the Q. Oh my
Ooh.
god,
Beautiful.
Legendary. That's in the highlight reel just 10 times over, bro. You send that to new companies that want to hire me.
Tasmo trying to reach out.
The Taz,
That's,
yeah, legend.
That's got to be Scott's like 9/11 or something like that. That's this Nene grab moment. That's just the one thing everyone remembers about him. Even though other players have done that many times, it's everyone always goes back to Cuss. It's like, nope, you're the one who fat fingered your old.
Is it
I mean,
not
it
the
doesn't
one- I
help
remember
me
the
that the
trance
camera
on Route
panned
66.
perfectly on Route 66 for him to just go, oh, transcendence.
shot.
Yeah, exactly. It was the perfect shot. W production, as always.
Trance is just so painful. It lasts so long.
It is,
You
yeah.
just- You can't cancel it. You can't
Like
hide.
neon sign, like look at me, I'm trancing, guys, look at me.
And he did it twice, right? That was the
Yeah.
main. He did it twice. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think a lot of people have misclicked Q twice. That's a
rough.
lot.
That's
All
right.
right, moving on. Next category, Dark Horse. So okay, here it goes.
Oh,
I knew
no.
Solomon was going. Oh, the clip is
It's
gone.
being cleansed from the internet.
No.
Because it's got a PR firm all over this.
Oh, yeah.
What was the
Because
clip?
PFR. It was the custom moment. It was the Q moment, I
Oh.
think.
Pressing
That's
goals.
the cute
Yeah.
moment. It's definitely
There'll
on
be
Twitter somewhere.
an extra. Someone else will have uploaded a mirror of it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's got to
All
live
right.
on.
Can we bring up the North America groups again here? Bring up the players. All right. Dark Horse to make a deep run here. Top 3 qualifies, of course, to Dallas. Who do we think is a dark horse?
Probably-
You're not allowed to pick Toronto, EMEA, or Timeless, or Luminosity.
Students of the game.
Oh, come on. Wait.
What? You said Dark Horse. You said I wasn't allowed to pick Toronto.
all right. These are the 5 teams we talked about out of 16.
Yeah, and they're a Dark Horse to me. What's wrong with
We
that?
can't
Alright.
pick WD-40, right? Is that true? Can't pick them.
Are we
Can't
allowed
pick
to
them or
mean-
no?
I guess you could. We haven't talked about them. They got second.
I mean,
and they have a really impressive. They got
could.
Top Dragon. So
Second's pretty high for a dark horse.
okay, we can't pick.
That's
we
why I'm
can't
going with
pick them.
fifth place
But
team.
I think they're
Brighton-
probably they look like.
Oh,
one of
guys,
the
I got
teams
it, guys.
that-
I'm gonna pick the. I'm gonna
we
pick the
should take
sixth place
30
team.
seconds.
I'm
We should
picking
take
number
30
6.
seconds to just
It maybe
say.
came 6. There you go.
Technical darkness. That's technical.
I'm picking the 6th best team, guys. They'll make it.
No. It's students of the game.
I just wanted to get shout out to WD40 or whatever first because they got second. We didn't talk about them, and I'm looking forward to see Siru. I've been impressed by Siru's tracer and scrims, so I'll shout out Siru. He'll be appearing in one of my categories later, so shout out to them. That's a pretty stacked squad.
I
right
played
there,
with Zero.
so.
I think he's a very smart player, very good, good at the game, and has a great hero pool. I think this new generation of players is going to be super exciting because I think one of the things that has changed so significantly in Overwatch, like strategically for high level meta, is that the concept of roles is just less relevant now. Like in the creation of role lock, there ironically within each role, specialization is not valuable, or much less valuable than it was before. Where in the past, in 6v6 and like pre-role lock, it was about like every player had their unique hero pools and it was like, okay, how do we fit these all together to like kind of play the strats we want to play? But everyone has like sort of a different looking hero pool. Whereas now, since players are fully specialized within one role, like you only play DPS, you only play tank, you only play support, whatever it is, within the role, the elite players play everything. Like if you look at like, let's say Merit and Sugar Free, or let's say a player like Tree. I mean, I'm thinking like most of these players who are up and coming players, yes, they have like their signature specialty heroes, but realistically, every good DPS player, or almost every good DPS player, is like plays hit scan, plays tracer, plays projectile, plays like Genji. Maybe not everybody plays like weird niche heroes like Pharah or whatever, or Mei. Maybe those end up being a little more specialized, but almost everybody has range across what were in the past traditional divides. So that's like hit scan versus projectile, just not meaningful anymore. If you just cannot play any hit scan heroes, your hero pool is very outdated, or almost every DPS player needs to be able to play tracer. Well, nothing has changed, I guess, in that regard. And support, almost all the best main support players are really solid on flex support too. Like they're not Lucio one trick anymore, or like Lucio Mercy. That's not viable anymore. You need to have a bigger hero pool than that. And on tank, of course, you look at players like Someone winning the championship last year because of his flexibility. I mean, he's an insanely good player, but his flexibility was what made him sort of head and shoulders above. And I think that's an exciting time for Overwatch, where we get to see a lot more range from these players and more types of unique strategies coming out from players that in the past you would have been able to say, oh, this guy's going to play Lucio. Like we know he's going to play Lucio. Where now they might change it up.
I'm picking Luminosity Gaming.
Dark Horse? I think that's a good
Yeah.
pick.
That's
yeah,
a good
I
pick.
think
Decent one.
Squid is super exciting for players who don't know. I think Squid has had some really great performances that I've seen. False and Dante on tank, and then Vision and King I think are really really solid as a DPS line. They've got a lot of depth and flexibility there. I think LG students of the game, for me, those look like the most realistic dark horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both Vision and
Agreed.
King are like really good. When King's Genji is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
it is.
me and King in a ranked game, we ate some cheaters for breakfast with Bastion Genji.
Oh shit, let's go. Fuck
That
I
was-
love playing
yeah.
against cheaters at that comp. They're so bad at the game, they can't win.
And Dante is still good as ever, even though he's going to school. So yeah, LG stacked roster. All right, here we go. We talked about dark horse, but I want a sleeper player, someone that hasn't played in the Overwatch League before, maybe a bit of a new face here. And this is where Zero from WD40 becomes my pick here, and I think that Zero is going to raise a lot of eyebrows and be a new player that we haven't really seen in the Overwatch League before, but could make a name for himself here in the OWCS. So a sleeper player.
Well, the obvious one has to be Vega, right? Because he's like the most sought after NA player.
Well, I wouldn't
that's
say
been
people are
in some
sleeping
time.
on Vega, but
After them being undefeated, I think they might be awake.
yeah, awake, real
They're
shit.
awake now.
I'm gonna take infected. I'm taking infected.
I was
Good
going
pick.
to say the same thing. Yeah, I think he's one
Okay,
of the best.
I'll take somebody else then, but I really
Sure.
think infected is super
Yeah,
exciting.
I think he's one of the best tank players coming out of like Soliki right now, or at least like competitive play that's not Overwatch League. Yeah, easily. Been impressed him for a long ass time, I think.
I'm gonna take Top Dragon. He's been my boy for a long time.
Top
Casted him
Dragon.
throughout most of his career. Young
good.
player, solid flex DPS, really insane Genji.
Been around
Very
for
impressive
a long
Echo.
time too.
He's played on plenty of teams as well, and he hasn't been an L yet. So we'll see what he gets to do now.
All right, if Jaws gets infected, I'll take Squid. But yeah, honorary pick for infected.
Solid.
He's
All
been
right.
an exciting player, like playing with him in ranked since he was like 14 or something, and he got to like top elo and was playing in games with me. I always thought, oh, this guy's like really good. He has like good calls, good flexibility in the tank role, and he kind of came up in a much more modern era of Overwatch, of flexibility and of playing like his like biggest ascendancy has been recent with like all the changes to the game. I think that plays to the advantage of younger players who are kind of gonna be the ones leading the way as far as innovation goes and as far as like finding the next new strategy that's the best. I think it pays dividends to kind of be young and be open-minded in the way that newer players often are.
All right, and the final category, player MVP. Who do we think is going to be the MVP of the OWCS North American group stage, or probably until like Dallas, I guess you could say.
Che Te Min. That's Merit.
I think that's a solid pick, considering that Barrett was like the
baby.
best
I'm
hit scan
taking
last
him.
year.
I'm taking him.
Yeah.
My goat, my king. He
Do you
plays
want to go
everything.
someone then? A repeat?
I mean, that's not a bad one either, but
I'm gonna go Pelican because right now we're in an
Okay.
insane meta for
Oh, that's a good
Pelican.
one.
Ooh, that's
of the-
true.
all of
Pelican
the-
all of the
will
meta
crush this
DPSs, all of the meta DPSs, Pelican plays amazingly, and he's gonna be coming over a low ping. He just came second again in the Overwatch League. He's good at doing that, so hopefully he can get over that hump and look for a first this time around. And I just want to see M80 take it to zero and refine it, so we have at least minimum two really strong teams that can go neck and neck.
It
I
does
had
look
either-
like that's going to be the championship or the top two for me.
I was thinking Spectra or RuPaul, but maybe RuPaul. I think RuPaul is still super sick, and yeah, and it's just more of a meta point to what you made, a point you made a minute ago, Jake, about players not really having to play like, oh, you're only a Lucio player, you're only a Trace player, whatever. The game evolves so quickly now, especially being a live service game. You fall so far behind just on that aspect too, and I think players from here on out will have to play every role, like you said. And I think it's just how games are evolving now into becoming live service models and shit. So it's just kind of a symptom of that, I think. And I think RuPaul is one of those. I think that dude can just play everything. I'd probably say RuPaul if I had to be honest. Although, yeah, you could DPS more flashy though. I feel like supports never get shit, but yeah, give me some RuPaul, baby. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I do like the point you're making, because I do think the RuPaul is like one of the best players currently. Like RuPaul is like, I don't want to say peaking because that kind of like means that at some point he'll go down. But
Well,
I'm
surely
saying
at
like
some point
he's
he will,
playing
but
the
he
best
can
Overwatch.
be
He's at
dominant
the top
for
of
a
his
long-
game
a long
right now.
time.
Top of his
no?
game.
He's still
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
He's still going.
He's
Yeah,
still going. Yeah.
Actually,
mean,
ultimate dark
one of the
horse
best.
pick. Tree gets old enough and then
my
joins the team, and then he is the star player to watch. Tree is the NA proper, guys. NA proper.
The
I'm putting
NA proper.
biggest
Oh my
expectations on
God.
him. Comes in, well, in the sense of this, to be a rookie and also be in conversation for the best player. I think that's for me is where a Tree. That's a very unique spot. That's extremely rare. Right? I don't think we've seen anyone else besides proper be in contention for whatever rookie of the year
Quick
and
question:
MVP at the same time.
Do you think Tree right now is better than Sugar Free?
I don't know. I think honestly, like that's like saying who's the GOAT. You know, it's like we need to see these players play, and realistically,
Because
you're never gonna get the differentiation you want. I mean, as much as people want to say who's the best, you're never really gonna get that, I guess, unless it's just unlikely. I think they're both at the same tier of like best, you know, whatever top 3, top 5 in their role.
I think it's more accurate to say that Tree is the next Sugar Free because of the circumstance of him like being just infinitely always too young, and also like, you know, Sugar Free was that guy in that position, not even just about the age, but in terms of being the next best player from NA that everyone's looking at, oh, we got to get Sugar Free. Oh damn, this guy's like 12 years old, unfortunately, so got to wait 10 years for him to join the Overwatch League. So yeah. I think that I think I can see the proper comparison, but I think the Sugar Free comparison may be a little bit more accurate. And that's why I also ask if he's maybe better than Sugar Free now, because if he is, then he really is like that next guy. But right now, once Tree comes in, he's definitely still competing against a couple of players in NA to try and overcome and
I do
take
think
number
Sugar
one.
Free has big expectations because I think he did so well on like a sort of middling team in the Overwatch League in the final season that it's like we want to see, everyone wanted to see, okay, what can this guy do sort of with a, you know, overall stronger, more competitive roster. And so now there's no, I mean, I don't want to say that he needed an excuse or anything like that before, because I think he was still playing incredibly well and the team did pretty well on top of that. I don't think they were like, you know, bottom of the barrel or looking like really weak or anything. They you know, very easily could have made a deep run with that roster. But I think now to be on the team that's kind of expected favorites, yeah, Sugar Free does have big shoes to fill. And this is kind of maybe the first moment for him to truly have the chance to realize the potential that people have been waiting on for so long because of his age, not because he's been underperforming, to be clear.
Yeah. To wrap up OWCS North America, I'm going with an unusual pick. I'm going with my boy Dante for MVP.
Okay.
I am going with Dante. I think if Luminosity Gaming, they qualify for Dallas, it's going to be on the back of Dante having real meaningful impact on that team. Obviously, we already talked about they have great players on that roster, but I think Dante's experience, versatility, and the fact that he's still really, really good at the game, like if we're seeing some Doomfist in play, I think it's going to be really good for them. So I'm going with my boy Dante. You know, I think it makes sense to pick someone from Toronto Defiant. You know, they're obvious favorites. You know, someone Merit. You know, they're obvious choices. But if I have to go from someone that's not from Toronto Defiant, I'm going with my boy Dante, MVP of the North American region this time around.
It's a good metaphor.
Epic.
Doom and Ramatra, both very, very strong.
Yep. All right, that's all with the North American region. Do we want to move over to Europe?
Let's go. EU, baby. EU Overwatch is back.
Dude, this is a fun region. There are so many good teams here. All right, let me just read out the names and we can like rate the names as we go. Obviously, Twisted Minds ended up first. You know, they were in Korea. Quote XQC. Bubo Spray Check had renamed because they weren't allowed to be out Spray Check apparently.
Man, come on.
Yeah, I
Come
don't know why that
on.
was, but man,
That's so lame. Let him be our spray check.
yeah.
We got ROC Rock Esports that you know, or people like Commander X has been raving about. I think Gunba raved about Rock Esports as well. I think we covered that here on the podcast. Another stack team with Checkmate and Isayaki. We got Space Station Gaming, which used to be We Spit Fire, got picked up by Space Station Gaming, which we hadn't covered before. Obviously another top tier team here in the region. Ex Oblivione, Sheer Cold, Quick Esports, Team Peps. Team Peps have been pretty impressive too. So down the line, I mean, there are really good teams here in EMEA and a lot of candidates to ultimately make kind of the top three. I think if you had to pick three teams, there are three obvious favorites in Twisted Minds, Space Station Gaming, and Booba Spray Check, because those have been kind of like scrimming each other pretty closely. Twisted Minds in Korea, of course, but
Do you call it Booba Spray Check?
what else am I saying? Boobo?
Boobo.
I don't know,
Boobo,
but it just
right?
said...
It's not Booba Spray
it's
Check.
named from an
It just like
animal,
said
right?
Booba. Booba Spray
Booba
Check.
Spray
Check.
That's even
Booba
better.
Spray
They should-
Check.
Bro,
Booba?
they should have named their team
I love
Booba
Honkai
Spray
Star Rail.
Check.
Booba Spray
That would be the
Check.
best.
That
that
would actually be
a
they
better.
would
Boy.
not be allowed Booba.
Doesn't really make sense, but
Doesn't make sense at all. No, I think Cloudy, LH Cloudy tweeted out, the CEO of the team tweeted out that it was based from an animal.
Yeah.
Like, there
it's
is
from
some
an
kind of
eagle or
owl.
something. Yeah.
yeah,
Or
no, I
something
think
like
is
Eagle,
it
sorry, owl.
googling this?
Yeah,
I'm going
Google
to
the
it right
animals.
now.
Google the animals.
Doesn't matter. Booba mentioned. That's all that matters.
Booba mentioned.
Oh my god, we're professionals.
The
We're
great
Yeah,
horned
professionals.
owl, Bubo virgianus.
The great horny owl.
The great.
Avro.
Yes.
Great horned
Great
owl.
horned
Admiral.
buddy.
Mm.
Get your head in order. I know it's late over there, or early. I don't know, something of the two. But here we go. But I can't read it because Jake is in the way.
It's an eagle owl.
It's an
Buddy.
eagle owl. That's the name. Bubo. It's a
Booba.
species of eagle owl.
Myself, I'll be calling it
Boobo.
Booba on broadcast.
Oh, yeah, based.
Yeah,
You could get away with that one.
Eurasian eagle owl. Eurasian.
Eurasian.
Okay. All right. There we go. That's why they're not called owl spray chick anymore. They renamed to a species of.
We didn't give them a there was no reason given. That's not the reason why.
No, that's
I
not
assume
why.
it's 'cause
But
you're not allowed
that's why
the
they
reference
renamed
to
to
Overwatch
that.
League?
To
I
that.
think you're not allowed to reference Overwatch.
Can we not be entrenched in this conversation? We're moving
Yeah,
on.
let's move
We're
on.
moving on.
Why?
We're
Why?
moving
Let's
on.
keep on this.
We can't be baited by team names, guys. This is the new era of Overwatch. They're gonna try. They're gonna try.
Yeah.
to
Don't worry,
bait
guys.
us. We
They're
gotta
gonna
move-
have. Once the org comes, once they get the org, they'll have to rename again anyway. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah. Hopefully there's no. There are some organizations floating around. They're taking a gander. They're observing from afar. So there are some. Didn't Sir Jet tweet out like some FaZe Clan tag or something like a few weeks ago?
FaZe? What the
Yeah,
fuck?
wasn't it?
I mean,
wasn't it
is
something
it
like
FaZe
that?
Banks firing everybody?
Yeah,
Maybe
and
that
then
he's
FaZe
going
Banks
to
was
come
just
in.
an interesting
and then
phase. I don't expect
boom.
FaZe Clan making an Overwatch team.
FaZe
right
is
now.
coming into Overwatch, baby. You
That
heard
would
it
be
first.
nice.
Plat Chat.
Get Shadowburn and Carpe back together for FaZe Clan. Let's do it, baby.
Yeah. I think complexity was brought up by their old owner Jason Lake as
Yeah.
well. Maybe we should get complexity in the game here.
I would love to see complete. I mean, they got a historic win for that squad in CS. Very exciting to watch, and it was cool to see.
He qualified
Jason
for
Lake,
major, right?
For cool to see him as an individual who's been part of the esports scene for so long. I know this is CS, but still, like, to see somebody like that finding success and like building a team and really accomplishing something. To me, that's like the joy of esports, is for somebody who's really part of the scene to be building and growing it. Yeah, super exciting.
Oh, I'm glad you showed this, Solomon, because it was in our document for this show, but I forgot
The
to mention
EU
it.
drama.
There was some EU drama as well. And here's a post from OWCS Twitter account. OWCS Tournament Administration has disqualified Raspberry Racers, Iliad Artemis, and Trukavnes from OWCS Stage 1 competition due to a breach of player eligibility as outlined in the official OWCS rulebook. Consequently, we'll be bringing up the next eligible play team from each region's Swiss qualifiers to take their position in OWCS Stage 1 groups. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the tournament administrators claimed that one of these players was from Russia, but they competed out of Kazakhstan. And then the player was like, I have Ukrainian Russian citizenship or passport or something like that. It was something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not too familiar with this. I apologize. I should have been prepared for this. But
I've been very busy. I only just saw this when I arrived home today. There's going to be a
I don't
Twitter
know
link
how the sanctions work.
somewhere.
I think there might be something legal about Activision Blizzard being able to like work with people who are Russian citizens.
Bro,
but I
get
BP
this
tweet,
guy
by
off
the
my
way.
screen. Get this guy off my screen.
BP's unhinged tweet here is
He's
insane.
ridiculous. Okay.
Bad Pachimari, like what is
Okay.
happening? what is happening?
Do
This is
we
just-
say it for the audio listeners, or is it too unhinged?
No,
God.
Solomon is just on a spree. Solomon is
love
just
it.
like.
This is how I read Twitter.
I
Boom,
feel
boom,
like I'm
click,
on
click, click.
TikTok and Solomon is the algorithm. Solomon is my algorithm, just taking me through content. But But yeah, so this is Yuzu tweeting out, my whole team got disqualified because of me. I don't know what to say. I moved from Russia to Kazakhstan about 6 months ago to continue streaming since Russia is under sanctions. So there's some additional replies here. I had all the documents into Kazakhstan to legally live there, and I showed everything I have in email form. Turns out there's not enough, and I can't use Russian passport since I live in Kazakhstan. I'm deeply sorry for my team, and I appreciate if by any chance OWCS 7 could give. It's too blurry. I can't read it. A chance to sub for me. Once again, sorry. So that's a player. I'm assuming. So I don't really know like where to stand on this. Like you could make the argument that hey, you got the rule book in advance. You know, you should have known. But I do feel again similar to the McGravy situation that you look at that roster and like these are pretty good rosters. They ended up qualifying for OWCS, right? And so why not just permit a sub? I understand that the competitive integrity of the qualifiers, you should be kind of probably disqualified because you impacted the qualifiers and other teams potentially making it over you by picking up someone that you shouldn't have had in the first place. I get all that. But it's just deeply unfortunate for the entire team, for the others who, thought they did something right. There was some player, I don't know whether it was Alexi or Yuzu, who made the argument as well that they were in contact with the tournament admins to begin with to have this situation done prior. So it's all around just like a shitty situation for all the parties involved. It's really unfortunate. I think you can make the argument either way really here, what the consequence should be, whether to disqualify the team or to allow a sub. But the whole situation is just fucked, honestly.
It's a lot more damaging for Raspberry Racers because first of all, that team's actually been like a quintessential name brand household in EU for a long time. They play in EU contenders for years. So it sucks losing Raspberry Racers, but it's way more punishing for them because they came 4th. Okay, User's team came 12th. It's like, that's unfortunate, but you're losing the 12th best team. It's like, it's bad, but you losing the 4th best team is like, holy shit, that's actually insane.
Yeah.
And that's extremely rough for the other 5 players. And they actually had 2 other DPSs. Like, they could have, okay, do you have to drop Alexi? Maybe, but you actually have another 2 DPSs on the roster already. They have a full 5-man roster capable of continuing playing. That's excessively harsh. And, I mean, for both teams have 6 players. It's excessively harsh to punish teams that are fairly qualified because of one player based on residency. That seemed to be unclear from even the admin side, because based on what User said, he was already talking to admins before the tournament, and this only got settled after the qualifiers. It's like, why didn't this get settled earlier?
See the tournament organizer perspective here. I will say, like, as much as I feel you, and like, I don't want, it sucks to see, a bunch of eligible players not able to compete now, but I do think, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't for the organizers, because these are the rules, right? I mean, if there was a mistake and like the rules are unclear or misleading, that's a huge issue that is on the organizers. But at the same time, I think if somebody is ineligible to compete and they compete and qualify, their team did not legitimately qualify. As much as maybe the rules shouldn't be that way, or maybe they should be different. But I in the end, it's like, if like the fact that they are qualified, you could just let them have a sub and like maybe they still compete. But to make an argument for the teams who are below them, it's like, who knows what would have happened, right? If every team is fully eligible, maybe if you had a different player, maybe the other teams could have won. Maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered. But that's always going to be a uncertain debate, a counterfact. Like, okay, what would have happened with a different player in a different match? I think, honestly, from my perspective, it's better for the organizers to rigorously enforce their own rules no matter what, which means disqualifying people for having if you play a match and win with an ineligible player, you get that match as a DQ loss. And I don't want that to happen, but I think that's like kind of important that the rules are followed directly. And then maybe we take a look after this and we say, okay, these rules need to be written more clearly. Maybe they should be different. Those are legitimate points, and I want to be clear that I'm not like the rules should be this way and we shouldn't change anything, but rather that once the rules are published and you play the competition and then it became clear that something was some rule was broken, you have to rigorously enforce that. That's like crucial for the competitive integrity. There can't be you can't just like kind of change your mind and say, hey, well, you broke the rules, but we're going to kind of make an exception for you, because then, you know, you're just begging the question, okay, so what are the real rules? What are the rules that we actually will get DQ'd
Yeah,
for?
and this is
versus what can we get away with?
not even a situation where you're like, oh, this was an overlooked topic in the rule book, or like this was obviously like a mistake in the rule book. You know, we've had incidents in the past where we've been like, oh, well, this doesn't make sense, but you know, we got to follow the rule book. In this scenario, you can make an incredibly strong case, like you said, that the team should just straight up be disqualified. So this is not even like an error. Like, this is a very reasonable rule in the rule book, that if you impacted the Swiss stage qualification matches by having a player that wasn't allowed to play, that's a disqualification, because you inherently you could have gotten an advantage playing with someone that shouldn't have been playing in the first place, right? So that's a very reasonable rule to have in the rule book. And so, you know, maybe they'll change it in the future, maybe they won't change it in the future. But nevertheless, it's a shitty situation for the two teams that won't be able to play because of their two ineligible players.
Yeah, I feel for the players, and I also would love this. I like the discussion of like what rules should we have, and like I would love to even see more response and output from the tournament organizers as far as like, well, this is why the rule has to be this way. I don't know that they can say stuff like that for legal reasons. They might not be allowed to discuss like, okay, this is why we made this rule this way. That I actually don't know, but I could see that easily being like in like a legal territory where they don't want to be like in the business of justifying themselves, and that the rules just have to be the rules, and like you can't argue with them. Or if you're gonna argue with the rules, it has to happen before the tournament. It can't happen after.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that user did try and get this sorted before the tournament. Based on what he's saying, he tried to sort it out day one. I don't know about Alexi, maybe that's different. Alexi user tried to get this done in day one of qualifiers, but it just didn't, like, he didn't get a clear answer until literally when they disqualified him. So at least in terms of like motive and intent, like he wasn't, they weren't.
I don't think these guys are bad people.
Weren't trying,
no,
yeah, they weren't trying to like, let's break some rules, guys.
And like they were aware.
I don't
they
think
were
they
trying
should
to
be
get it
punished
sorted
because they deserve to be punished and that like they did something wrong. I think rather it's just that like the rules should be rigorously enforced.
Yeah,
and
I get
not
that.
a fan
I get
of
that.
exceptions being made unless there's a clear, like, if there's a process for exceptions being made. Maybe there's something in the rules that says for any judgment you can appeal, and there's a process for that appeal. Okay, sure, like then use the process. You know, or maybe that should exist in the rulebook. Again, I think all those things can be true, but in the end, like, it sucks that they weren't sure, but in the end, it's like, I don't know. You kind of have to, from the tournament organizer perspective, I would rather see the TOs just rigorously enforce their own rules. And then if the rules are screwed up and wrong, then we fix them and we make it better. But I don't think that really works for like retroactively. I think you kind of have to stay ahead of that with making the rules effective to make the competition fair. That like everyone can know the rules beforehand. It's all clear. Everyone has the same restrictions on them. It's one of the sort of collateral damage impacts of enforcing competitive integrity with a rule book, that you're going to have situations in which you didn't really want the rules to work this way, or you weren't anticipating them, but in the end, it's like, if you have to take it as written.
Yeah,
Jaws
so
is
true.
giggling.
So
Yeah,
true.
so true is that. So true. So true. I'm not going to ask you what you're giggling about.
Well,
Anyway,
you know,
let's,
just flinging rulebooks around. You know, that's cool, man.
flinging rule books around.
That's a good idea.
All right, let's go into the European region here. Obviously, if you had to pick 3 teams that ultimately qualify for Dallas, who are they? Are you just gonna go with the favorites here?
Space
Twisted,
Station
Spray
Gaming,
Check,
formerly known
SSG.
as We Spitfire, formerly known as London Spitfire, formerly known as British Hurricane, Twisted Minds, Booba Spray Check. There's my 3.
Yeah,
I think you
Space
have to
Station
go with
Gaming,
them,
right?
I do think they've got their work cut out for them, to be honest. I think I'm interested to see this. I think this team can be really good, but we've also historically only seen them produce real results with one comp. And
But not a bad meta for that goal. Well, actually, Ryan's kind of
but
terrible,
extraordinarily bad meta for that comp. Although they've
Yeah.
done it before in what looked like bad metas for their comp. So I don't. But I think this team ultimately they cannot rely on this comp long term.
No.
That's the hard challenge for them.
To be
is
fair,
that
they haven't.
Exactly.
In their scripts.
Exactly. They haven't been.
And
but
they're
the
official.
question is, we know they could be the best in the world for sure at a certain style. but can they compete at the best? You know, not just good, but I mean, we're talking about being one of the best in the world if you're going to Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And so that I'm not questioning that these are extremely good players. I'm just saying there's a lot of extremely good players in this qualifier, and so this will be a big moment for this squad, I think, if they can make top 3. And I think it's very reasonable, but I think you look at like ROC Esports, right? Like, I don't know. I think Explosione, you know, I think there's a lot of other squads in here that could also be competitive, and that I don't think the road is as clear for Space Station Gaming as it might have been in another meta.
I watched the SSG Spray Check match that they played, obviously through the player VODs and whatnot, and Space Station nearly won that. Like this is absolutely not a one-trick team that wants to play Ryan. It's like, oh, I guess we can't play Ryan, guys. People forget, but Hardy's first love was actually Ball, and then the Ryan came later. Like his OG here is actually Ball. He's actually the best dive tank in EU. And when you look at the EU rosters, there's not a better dive tank in EU than Hardy. He's the one that can actually play Ball, that can actually play the Winston. You know, unfortunately, Chikaro, not counting, unfortunately, on that one.
There
and
is one better Ball in EU. The Ball one.
Called Chasm. Okay, yeah,
Chasm,
okay, but
baby.
that's true. But we're not. Don't worry. It's okay. The Aura tier list is over, guys. Space Station Gaming also then got Psycho, and he played an insane Echo in that series. I actually think SSG could have beaten Spray Check if they maybe kept Psycho in and played the Tracer Echo the entire way through, because Spray Check didn't know what to do about that Echo. Spray Check themselves find it very difficult to play an Echo comp because Kevster can't play both those heroes at the same time. Kai has to pick up one of them, and unfortunately Kai is probably the player that has to work on that hero pool a little bit more for this particular meta. I think Space Station Gaming are a clear top 3 to me. They might even be a top 2, but they did lose to Spray Check, so fair enough. They go below Spray Check for now, but Space Station are definitely in that top 3. I don't think the other teams
was feasting. Oh,
I mean,
God,
Kevster is an absolute giga monster in this meta. He can do so much, but I think the point is well made that you know, Kevster is the Tracer and the Echo player. And so when you need both, it's getting a little more awkward, I'll say, for Bubo Spray Check to like kind of be as confident in the roster. Where obviously like you have a meta where it's like, you know, Hitscan Tracer, okay, you were looking very scary as Bubo Spray Check. But I think it is a little bit of an awkward meta for them.
I'm just saying the Space Station, like, oh, this is London Spitfire, they want to play Ryan narrative is like, not fully accurate.
I wouldn't take it that far. I just think
anymore.
We haven't seen results. I've seen them play other comps and look really good on them, but we haven't seen the real top tournament placings on other comps.
The result to me is they played Spray Check in an official and nearly beat them. That's what I'm going off currently.
Yeah.
And I guess it's only one official, but it's all we got. So
I don't even know if Bubo Spray Check is really at its peak with this meta either. You know, like I think they are a lot scarier with Kai on Hitscan. I think that is a really terrifying team if you put Kai on Hitscan.
Rush meta or a poke meta with Vestola
poke meta for
on
Bubo Spray
Sig
Check is scary.
Would be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
If we ever get a poke meta, it's actually Jova for the region, for real.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even Twisted Minds could look really good in a poke meta, honestly.
Yeah.
Twisted Minds might actually look even better because
I
don't know if this is a hot take, but Quartz is likely a better hit scan than Kai.
Yes.
So
At the moment, I'd say
that we need to let them settle that. I think those players.
That's fair.
That's on them. I don't think we can call it.
I like to take.
Disgusting in
but
one.
I'm
just saying, like this is not my take in particular. It's a lot of EU people say that. So this is a very EU community take that I'm just like, you know, I'm co-opting their community take at this point.
No, Quartz is nasty.
We'll see. I stay believing in Kai. But I think Quartz is very impressive too. Not get me wrong. I want to see them. I want to see the Widow do on Circuit Royale. I want to see. That's what I want to see in the match.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Ghost 91. Ghost 91's Batiste has been really good. So that's been crazy. So because breakout year for Ghost 91.
Yeah.
This time around,
so Crimzo's on the team, but he's playing but also managing, which is quite cool. Oh, not managing, sorry. Assistant coach. Sorry.
Yeah. This might just be a scenario where they're like, we might as well list just a player so that if something happens, you can.
Yeah. This is me on the Outlaws. The first season I came back is like I'm not even supposed to play, but whatever. I'm supposed to be Junkrat on Temple of Anubis.
Let's go.
This is not cosmetic from Crimzo at all. He's actually getting serious game time. He's being rotated in scrims even when Ghost is there. and he's been playing alongside Ghost as well for double flexible. So
Exactly,
this is not a
Crimzo is
cosmetic
still one of the
situation at all.
goats. No one is
Yeah,
surprised.
I don't
about
think
that.
I don't think he's supposed to not play, but I think it's nice. I think it's smart for him. It's like at this phase in his career to be still playing, that he's still got it, but also, you know, working with other players, like using some of his veteran experience on many successful teams to like kind of help better other players at the same time. And for him to be even like officially acknowledged as an assistant coach, I think really does matter. As much as like every player can sort of be coaching and like every player can be giving feedback, in the end, once you like kind of have like a title like that, it does change your focus and your perception, and the rest of the team, I think, can kind of work with that too, where it's like, okay, this is a guy that, you know, he's kind of supposed to do some teaching and we're kind of supposed to do some learning. And I think especially for the younger players like Ghost 91 on the team, that can be really valuable. Maybe some of that veteran experience, and you know, in diverse metas, you know, Crimso's been around for so long, he's kind of played everything.
I also there's something I want to bring up that I'll have to dig into the lore of this. But Solomon, could you bring up one of the managers for Sheer Cold or Quick called Cointree? Because my word, does that guy manage a lot of teams? I was just looking through some of the. I was looking through some of the management, like the staff picks on the thing, and I think they are on 3 to 4 teams across the regions, NA and EU. One of them, they're an analyst too. So I just
is this
want
a hot take? But I think that's smart. I don't think
No,
you really need one. You don't need like a full-time person to manage a team.
yeah,
That
especially
role
like
can be
online
many
and matches
teams.
and stuff. It makes sense, and like I'm like, oh, okay, that managing various teams, you definitely could do that. But it's just crazy seeing the
So-
list being so full. Like
Yeah.
For the
the list
audio
is
listeners,
huge.
for the audio listeners who can't tell how big the list is, just imagine a filled out CVS receipt.
Yeah.
A
Well,
CVS
1, 2, 3,
receipt.
4.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now.
He's
That's a
managing a
lot.
lot of teams.
He's got like 5 teams under present, or 6 teams under
6.
present.
Yeah.
This guy looking like a private equity firm manager.
Good
you know what I'm
hustle,
saying?
baby.
He's
Good.
just-
I want to shout out Cointree. That's
Yeah.
good hustle right there. That's good
31
hustle.
entries on the history list I just counted, maybe 32, maybe miscounted.
This is the
from
guy. The guy who's
2022.
down to manage 6 teams is the guy I want managing my team.
Yeah.
And they're
Whoa,
not-
and
they're
he
not
used to be a
bad either.
semi-professional fencer. What? Wait a second here. Wait a second.
Okay.
That's kind of
And his
sick.
favorite dish is spicy hot pot. Let's go.
Wait,
That's
that
my
guy's.
guy.
He might just be the GOAT, actually.
That
But
might
no,
be
I
very
think
Oh
it's
my
actually
God, look at this list.
managing a various teams. I think is very smart. But I was
This is
just
just like
surprised.
one
at
of
the
the-
He has
list.
like the biggest Wikipedia.
It's the biggest
I've ever
Wikipedia page of all
seen.
time. Like actually, the biggest page of all time.
This guy's Wikipedia page is like twice as big as
He's
mine.
got the XQC meme, like
He's pulling the
17
strings in the back.
monitors, fucking 6 consoles. Like he's got like 15 keyboards. He's
got
managing all
he's
the
got
scrims in
hacker
NA.
man.
Dude,
Cointree is working in the shadows for 6 teams at the same time.
he might
And-
single-handedly be
I'll
holding
tell
up
you what.
the
I'll tell you
entirety
one
of the NA
person
and
who's
EUC.
going to land.
He's-
I'll tell you one
Yeah,
person who's going
Cointree
to
is
land.
going.
I
I will
think
see you in Dallas, bro.
I think this guy might be the shadow broker from Mass Effect.
Yeah, he's pulling all the strings, man. This guy is insane.
yeah, they're not
actual
bad
goat.
teams either. It's Twisted Minds, Timeless
I know.
Ethereal, Timeless
They're not even
Celestial,
bad teams.
Raspberry
Multiple
Racers,
regions,
Sheer
bro.
Cold, Quick Esports. Wow.
Bro's gonna be like at land booking scrims. He's like, nah, it's cool. Like all of it. Yeah, we've got
We're
it all
just- we're
booked. the whole
scrimming against
time.
my
Like,
teams,
it's
motherfucker.
me.
Like, it doesn't
I
matter.
have booked it with myself.
I know just the team. I know just the team you guys would scrim.
He is the NA spreadsheet and the EU spreadsheet of scrim times. That's it. He's a
There you go.
beast.
All right, let's move on with the categories
player
here.
of the
So we got the
week.
top 3. Let's go with Dark Horse. Who is the Dark Horse?
I got a good one.
Because there's
I got a
a
good
lot
one.
of good Dark Horses here.
My one. I don't know if anyone else was going to say this one, but I'm gonna go down. We got to scroll down a little bit for this because we're covering a
Ooh,
team in the
scroll
bottom
down,
eight.
Dark Horse.
We
Now
don't
you're
normally talk about a bottom 8 team, guys. But left, right, good night.
I knew you were
Birds.
going to say that team.
We
I don't know
got
how.
Cuffa. We got an
got my-
import.
it's
An
my-
import.
got my boy
Limo,
Cuff on it.
Lethal, Admiral.
My dog Cuffer on that team. So unlucky story for this team, but Cuffer kind of got owned on ping again. He moved to NA to play in NA, and then because you know OC is one of the blacklisted regions from Blizzard. There's three countries or 3 regions that Blizzard hates. It's Russia, China, and OCE. And Cuffer just like unfortunately, you know, you don't count as a resident, even though I guess he's not like an actual resident. He's there as a student.
Yeah, you have to have
And
like
all the
citizenship or something.
people on Redbird / Goodnight, Left Right Goodnight, they're all actually in NA playing on Redbirds, and now they're all playing on High Ping to Europe because they're all European and Cuff is an Australian import on now what is a European team. So I say they're a dark horse, but they're all kind of on scuffed ping, which is not ideal, even though they're basically all European.
Yeah, I've seen Mimo on NA ladder before, or like pretty often. I play with and against him. So, yeah, I think these players are. I think you make a very fair point. The strength of roster here looks like a more of a top team. They look better than 11th to me for sure. I think you make a very fair point. But is the status going to change? Are they going to be trying to qualify on high ping still, which is rough? I mean, to be fair, also this is a rough meta for high ping with a lot of like fast moving dives. Kind of hard. Like that's like the most difficult comp to play on high ping, where some comps like poke are.
You are not going to see the tracer.
Playable.
But my guy, those packets getting hand delivered across the ocean, they are not reaching you in time before a tracer kills you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for Lethal or Mimon, whoever's playing Tracer. Tracers can be kind of rough on high ping. You dying on recall. You have to recall very conservatively. Can be rough.
I think Skyle was playing the support. Skyle was Skyle. He was the one playing it. But yeah, they got their support to play the Tracer. I think he plays both roles. I think he like multi roles or something like that.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
There you go. And more dark horses, guys. I have a dark horse, but I'm not gonna say it just yet.
I want to say Quick Esports. There are a lot of OG names in Quick Esports.
Good
Shax,
shout.
Daned, Dan, Twalls. They have been around. To be fair, Dollar as well. Like they've all been around a long ass time, and maybe not the craziest. Like they're gonna come first or anything, but I think they'll do better than their placing potentially. I'm quite excited to see them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Team Peps, 9th place. You know, it's not in the top four. It's not in the top four, but Team Peps. I think overall it's an impressive roster. You got the French players with Ben Bess and FD God, of course, very recognizable in that regard. But Hybrid and Naga as well. I think it's a good damage pairing. I think they could have an impact here. So I think Team Peps could be a dark horse to sneak up, potentially contend for the 3rd spot. But it is a very top-heavy region in that the top 4 teams are probably the best 4 teams, right? But you know, there are four teams or so that could at least contend for one of those, the 3rd slot, perhaps, maybe. Dare I say? So there you go. All right, moving on. Dare I say? I dare to say it, Joss.
No, not yet. I'd take Exoblivione. I mean, the coldest of the hot takes. The sixth place team, who's I guess the 5th now with the 4th place team eliminated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They look pretty good, but I agree. I don't. Sorry to say, but I don't think any dark horses are making it. I think it's the top 4 that are in contention. I think there's 4 teams for 3 slots for me. Like if anybody else makes it, that would be a big surprise to me.
Yes.
Checkmate and Izzyaki are in Saudi right now, right? Like physically. We
I
know.
would assume so.
I think I could be trolling.
They usually
maybe post a photo or something.
They usually fly the Koreans over when the Koreans play on a Saudi team, at least for Saudi E-League anyway.
I would think they would if they have the other players in like a house or something. You know, you'd really want all the guys. And then I mean, the Korea ping to Saudi is probably pretty bad. Not unplayable bad, but pretty bad. Like
it's
Korea ping to EU in
tragic.
general is not good. Yeah, it's very tragic. So.
Korea to EU is awful ping.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Checkmate. It was a really nice
I
day.
think I saw a photo. There you
Holy shit.
Fucking good.
Yeah. I think it'll be.
Wow, they went to Egypt and
Paris.
Paris.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
World tour.
They went around the world.
Holy shit! It went to Japan. Oh my god!
What? Okay.
In one
Bro.
day. That's
Where
a lot
is
of flights.
Wow.
I need to get sponsored by Rock Esports. These guys fly me around the world. Dude, like 3 countries in one day. Let's go.
That's crazy. That's
pretty
crazy.
sick. Okay.
Okay, moving on. Sleeper player, guys. Sleeper player. We have a lot of players here to pick from. Who's a player that we should that we're sleeping on, but we shouldn't?
Is actually no. The name changed as I was going. There's a guy whose name was basically FD God backwards, but now that I look at it, it's not correct.
Dog
it was
DF.
Dog DF.
No, the sleeper pick has got to be. I'm gonna say Rojo from Rock Esports because this guy, a lot of people don't. Because actually, despite Rock being 3rd here, a lot of people still don't know Rojo because you know, I understand, you know, this isn't Twisted Minds, this isn't Falcons, it's not one of the big Saudi teams, so people probably don't know them. Rojo, otherwise known as Teenage, he sometimes uses that alias. He's like the next Quartz. He's like the little bro Quartz. So he's very good. If anyone watched him in Saudi E League, this guy was a standout for sure. Rock came second in Saudi E League for what it's worth, and Rojo was probably the top performer on the team. So that's a guy everyone needs to watch out for.
Chasm, ball OTP.
I'm actually
go.
down for some big
Let's
crazy
go.
balling
Ball
out here.
OTPs rising up.
I'm down for some ball OTP gameplay. It's as close to viable as maybe
Yep.
it's ever been.
It is. This is the closest we've been to maybe a ball being perma pig. It's not, but it
but
could
in
happen.
the end, I think it's not actually good. Like in the end, like the meta, Overwatch meta is hard. Where like
But-
it's close to good, but then it's like maybe countered by what's better. Or
ball
there's
OTPs a built different.
there's nothing to dive on in the current meta. Like you're playing all 5 high mobility heroes, which is kind of hard for ball, but it can work. A ball OTP can make it work. Anything can work.
Anything can work in EU.
Except the Rhine.
And
That's
Except
a
the
slogan.
Rhine.
Okay, Rhine, I don't think can work, guys. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
I don't think Rhine.
Dude,
can
imagine this: Cloudy, Hardy, Space Station Gaming, Booba Spray Check make it to the finals.
Honorable
a
Reiner.
Rhine-off. An
I feel like you
honorable
do not
Rhine-off.
take that as anybody else against Space Station. You do not take that.
Probably
Last
not,
time
but it would be
I
cool.
last time I saw a Booba Spray Check scrim like a week and a half ago. The Rhine player was Vastola because Vastola just brought out the Rhine. Like,
trolling?
No, yeah, he was trolling. It was like the last map of the scrim block, and he just brought out the Rhine on like Shambhala Monastery. The Gunbuck called him out or something in all chat, just like, are you PayPaling Vastola to play Rhine or scrim or something? But yeah, a little bit of trolling. I don't think that Rhine-off's gonna happen. Rhine-off's gonna kill.
Ramattra
Probably
looks
not,
pretty good
sadly.
right now, so Rhine
Yes.
is in a rough spot, I'll say.
Yeah.
And some
All
of the OG Rhine strats have been heavily nerfed. Like Sim is ultra nerfed from this patch. So.
I know this is not a complete comeback by any means because we played last year a little bit, but if you scroll down here, one section, Solomon, to New Age, my boy Sharp is back. Sharp is back,
Sharp.
baby.
Atlanta
Okay.
Rain Sharp.
Sharp is back for
Okay.
3 years, maybe 4 years. I've been speaking
gone.
Sharp's praises. He took a 3-year break, but then he returned last year for a little bit of game time, and now finally, this is the year where Sharp makes his grand return and gets the broadcasts to recognize Sharp. That's my goat. That's my goat, Sharp. That's right. Punk, do the thing, Punk. He always calls me out whenever I talk about Sharp.
Do
But-
the thing.
What's
All
the
right.
thing?
Well, he calls me out because he always bring up that I play World Cup with Sharp. But Sharp is my goat, so I'm looking forward to see Sharp. He's my sleeper pick here.
He's a Swede, of course.
Yeah, oh yeah. Sharp is the
Chasm's
best.
British, to be fair. He's not the
Uh-oh.
only one.
I was always,
guys are making
I was
it all
always so
personal.
hype. I was like, if you can get Kevster and Sharp on the same team, I mean, that is
All right,
crazy. but
so Jake has to go for a US player.
Well,
or an Irish player?
I thought you were I was gonna take Kuffa, but then now I feel like I
I
gotta
took
let you have
Cuff already.
Kuffa. Oh, you took Kuffa
I already did. I took. Oh no,
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
your
take Cuff.
sleeper
I
pick?
took. Oh
You
no,
took
no,
the
no!
team,
I
but-
took the team. You, all right, you can take Cuff then. You
No,
take
no.
Cuff.
It's your heritage.
No,
it's
I
your
already took.
homeland.
I already took another player. It's, I
who'd
feel
you
like I'm
take
cheating.
again?
I took Rojo from Rock.
Okay. I'll take Kuffa then.
Yeah,
I think
please.
this guy's
Thank
been
you.
out here. He's been putting in that work. You know what I'm saying? That work, grinding away, playing in NA ranked games for like the last 5 years from Australia,
That's
like a crazy person.
psychopath.
I have a lot of respect for that, actually. I have a lot of respect for people who like put the work in and grind through these like big obstacles that have been put in his way time and time again. And I want to see him succeed because of that. You know, I think that's like inspiring. And then he's also a very strong player. And so, yeah, I want to see him, you know, hit that next level and would love to see him make an international land. I think it's a tough road for this team, but I just, want to see it.
all right, there we go. One last category, player MVP. Everybody, who do we think is the player MVP of the EMEA region?
Kevster.
Oh, this is
Kevster,
too easy,
yeah,
guys.
You
Kevster.
can't have
This one's a
anybody.
little
I get
easy.
Kevster.
It's Kevster.
Everybody
He's just
agrees.
so
Everybody
sick.
knows
This
it.
kid's a freak, bro.
Everyone
He's one of the
knows.
best players in the whole world.
Yep.
He's got to be in a like we talk about GOAT seriously. He's got to be the one from this region.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you could
Easily.
talk about other players in GOAT, but I don't know about. I
He's
feel
the
like
best
if you're
player in
gonna
the
go
region.
for a regional GOAT, it's Kevster.
Let me say this: I've been watching a lot of Spray Check games, and almost every single game, Kevster is right at the top of the lobby in terms of all stats. and like this guy is even deadlifting some maps quite
he's
often.
different. He's different. He plays every single hero.
Just
in
takes
DPS.
over games.
He's outstanding in this region. He's a cut above in this region. It's not close. I will say though, if the right meta comes, the next best player could be Quartz, but he needs the right meta for him. Right now, we're not in a very strong hit scan meta, so that's not very good for Twisted Minds.
What I think is scary about Kevster is like I think Kevster might be able to take the best hit scan players in EMEA. Like that's what's crazy about this guy. Like you can't put him in a box of like what hero he plays. Like I have seen this guy play Ashe and Widow. He is elite. He is elite on pure hardcore hit scan heroes that normally players with Kevster is like focus. Like his best heroes are probably like Tracer, Echo, Genji, these types of things. Like snowballing pop-off heroes. He plays an elite hit scan, and I think he can go toe-to-toe in like the most extreme cases against pure hit scan players. I don't know that he will, because maybe this is a meta where Kai's probably going to be the one taking the Widow for comfort reasons. But if it's like a Widow Sojourn meta, like on Circuit Royale, which I think is the meta on Circuit Royale, it's bet Hanzo's not that good for me anymore. But Sojourn, Kevster, very scary.
I mean, Kevster is, Sweden's second gift to Overwatch after Reinforce, so I think that's valid.
Wow.
I don't even think that's Tvik. Come on, how you gotta do
so
Tvik
true.
like that? Tvik was Sweden's gift to esports.
How long has it been
back in the
since Tvik doesn't play anymore, right? What is
day. Hey, I've seen him in ranked. He plays
Oh,
tank
is he
these
gaming?
days. He plays tank.
Oh, he's evolved.
Yeah, I spoke to him and he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to relearn the game, so I've been playing some tank just to get a feel for the game." So
It's a good time to come back. Overwatch is in a good spot right now.
yeah, I mean, he's just sitting at home playing like he's in like 2 classic WoW guilds. So I'm like, dude, we gotta-
2 guilds at the same. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
no,
Bro's
no.
trying to be the
Bro.
coin tree of WoW.
Wait,
Look
he's
at
the
that.
beat.
the country of WoW. Yeah, I'm like,
That's gotta be a
come on,
thing.
come on, buddy. It's
I
it's
want to be
time
the coin tree
quit.
of anything in my life. bro.
I would be excited for the comeback, but I mean, we're washed. So I don't know if there's any hope for that. Let's move on here to the final region we want to cover on this episode. AVRL, you've been doing some co-streaming OWCS Korea. What's the
We're
vibe
not talking
check?
about Japan. We're not talking about Nozzle.
Okay, you can get your Japan
Namakuchi
shout out.
brothers?
You have a favorite player. Bring it up.
This podcast sucks.
Bring it up, Joss.
Podcast
Go on,
sucks.
have your
Nozzle.
moment.
Yeah, have your moment.
Solomon, bring up tweets, please. Nozzle,
Bring
the
up
absolute
tweets.
goat. Dude was playing in a hotel room, keyboard on the side of a laptop, no mouse pad, wooden, like weird framed desk with his mouse. A brother's still playing
Oh,
Hog.
yeah.
This guy is still gaming.
Legend.
And then, couple of days later, don't worry, he got a mouse pad, all right. He got a huge
Oh,
one.
Look
He
at
got
that.
leveled
it
up.
still looks kind of scuffed, but it's a lot better.
What
than
size
the
is that
other one.
screen?
Namakuchi brothers.
That's a
like
good question.
15 inches.
It's sick. He's kind of the beast for that. Also, yeah, I got a feature on this Japanese Overwatch page because I tweeted out about his setup, and I didn't know this, but Namakuchi in Japanese is slug, so it's like Slug Brothers. It's they're kind of sick for that.
They're the Slug Brothers.
Yeah,
I do
Wow.
want to see.
it might be a specific slug in Japanese or something,
my
but when
God,
you
that's
Google
just-
Namakuchi, it comes out of slug. So
Seeing the screenshot
Guy
of the
Bolsey?
SR
So sick.
of the Japanese
Cable sheet.
Yeah,
the
Cable sheet.
numerical typeface in Japanese reminds me of the fact that Train used to play on Japanese just so the numerical typeface would look like this.
Oh, really?
I've
Yeah,
seen this
it's
before
hilarious.
many years ago. It's like I think it's one of the only languages that has a different number typeface.
Yeah.
yeah,
Than
All the letters, yeah.
yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. I guess that's true.
they're all
even
like
even the
bolder.
English
Yeah,
letters.
it's
Yeah, so
not
it
sure
looks
how
kind
it
of
looks on
cool.
Overwatch 2
But
client,
it just that was a throwback to like a decade ago. That's the last time I've seen
I
it.
had no idea. That's
I do think though
hilarious.
that the region, I think it's good to see them in OWCS, but I think to be honest, I don't think we're gonna see a competitive team out of this region. for a couple
Varel are the
seasons.
only competitive
Varel
team in
is
the
good,
region.
but,
Really,
I mean-
they are.
Are they competitive though? When you say competitive, is it like we're gonna win a map, or
It's
is it
like, could they be
we're actually
competitive against the top 3 in Korea? You're like,
See, that's
Yeah, but
that's
then-
my point.
But see, the
Yeah.
problem
It
is,
takes
but the problem
time to
is,
get there.
then you could even argue that like almost all the NA and EU teams wouldn't be competitive either because we're talking top
I don't
3
think that's
Korean
true.
guys.
I think like Toronto Defiant and M80 are full of players who've historically been competitive with full
Yeah.
stack top teams.
But out of 16 teams, I think 2 are competitive and the rest is like,
Well, but it doesn't. I mean, beyond the top 3, it literally doesn't matter, right? You will not play them if you're
Sure.
not top 3.
yeah, Varel
Apart
will.
from Varel,
I'm basically
Well, they
ignoring
will-
anything
they will
below
try.
the top
They-
three because
they
if
will
you're not going
do-
to international land, you don't.
I would love to see them in an
international
international
land.
tournament and see how they fare against NA and some of the EU teams. I
Well,
think it'd be kind of
yeah.
sick. And
That would be the dark
Well,
horse.
well-
That's the real dark horse. Is
Yeah,
if a team from
I'd say so.
OWCS Japan can
Yeah.
kind of make a run or even just make an upset
They're
here
not-
and there, it would be huge
they-
for them.
They're not going to go to the major, unfortunately, but they will be at a LAN because Asia has its own LAN because they have the 3 mini regions and
Yeah,
those
so
three
they have
regions
to
come together
beat.
for LAN.
They have to beat the top Korean teams to go to land.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean, they
only-
have to be
remember,
pussy.
guys.
It's
Remember,
pretty
But
guys.
I'd love to see them get some
Korea-
wins there.
Korea/Asia only has 2 teams going to LAN as opposed to NA and EU's 3, so
Right.
very tough competition
Yeah.
come on through.
Jesus.
But
But dude, watching Japan is so much fun.
to
It
give
is,
people
actually.
the rundown, Varel is currently giga slap pounding everyone in this region, and it's not close. The second best team, which looks like the second best team I believe is Insomnia at the moment, and they got 1 map of Varel, but still they did not look competitive enough to really get it done.
My Namakuchi brothers, 1 and 5.
Yeah, so this is gonna be the Varel show.
Are those the
for
guys
Japan.
playing Roadhog like?
Yeah, dude,
I'll tell
CC2's
you what.
Hanzo is crazy.
Bro, I will flame my
Hanzo
teammates in
OTP.
ranked for these
I
heroes.
say-
It's
I
not
s-
good.
I love it.
I'll say this about the region: there is a lot of viewership. I think there's more viewership for Japan, given that the Japanese viewers locally, than we have for either Korea or Pacific. Pacific is obviously going
Whoa.
to struggle because it doesn't have that level of fan. But there's a lot of Japanese fans, and let me tell you this as well. By the way, for anyone that wants to know what Tyre is up to, when he streams and when he co-streams OWCS Japan, he gets more viewership than the main stream. He is number 1 in the Overwatch category when he co-streams the Japanese
Is he
game.
the
The
only
Japanese
Japanese
scum.
player to like make it to the Overwatch League? Is there anyone else?
No, he's
No,
the
it's
only
just
one,
him.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think-
So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it kind of makes sense, right? He's like
He's
probably the
also
player,
just
individual player who's reached the highest level.
he's
out
also
of
just
the region.
an extremely popular streamer as well. But even
Yeah.
beyond that, I'm pretty sure the domestic Japanese language stream outperforms the English stream as well for WCS. I have to double check the stats on that one. I'm not entirely sure, but it's up there. It's fucking up there. Like the Japanese fans are showing up. So one thing is very clear. I'm glad Japan got its own region. It's getting a
Yeah,
ton of
for
investment. It's getting a ton of attention.
Finally.
Because
Good for the game.
Japan's coming through a huge FPS renaissance where they're playing Valorant, they're playing Apex Legends, they're playing Overwatch here as well. Don't mind that on your screen, and we have how many is that? 7 red name teams. Japan is now becoming a developing region. I think it'll take a year or so, however long it'll take multiple seasons, but eventually over time, they'll improve, they'll catch up to Varel. And Japan might go somewhere because it's Japan is attracting a lot of attention right now domestically, and that's super important. You can really see the potential in the region,
especially seeing being in that region, and I'm sure they'll be scrimming a lot of Korean teams, or at least the elite Japanese teams might be able to scrim the Korean squads, and being in the most intense competitive environment you can be in is the best way to improve.
Yep.
So with whoever's probably elite in this region can maybe go up against some of the Korean squads, and
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to see that. But I agree. I think it's probably going to be a couple seasons. It takes time. It's not like, oh, you're in this region, you're going to be competitive. I mean, especially when you look at the rosters in Korea, it's so disgusting.
They're disgusting.
What you need,
Yeah.
what you need is Cointree to book some scrims against Koreans for the Japanese.
Seriously,
teams.
we need to get Cointree in this
done.
region.
Coin,
He
probably is.
Cointree,
He
quick,
probably-
gotta
let's
help
be
us
honest.
out, man.
Don't click the staff. All right, we're gonna see him.
Let's do Pacific. I'll do a really fast Pacific right now because they literally just played like 6 hours
Let's go.
ago, and then we'll go to Korea, and then we can all jump
Hell
into Korea.
yeah.
So, this is the region where 2 additional Australian players get to play. So across all of OWCS, there's 3. Let's say Korean, Australian. There's 3 Australian players. There's Cufflick playing in EU / from NA. There's Adam on Honeypot who's still going strong post Mayhem. And there's Dancom Daff, who used to play with Guangzhou Academy at some point before, but he's actually been on Daff for some time. Fun fact about Daff Esports is they have an insane winning record versus Varel. Daff and Varel have this ongoing rivalry where Varel just cannot get over the hurdle that is Daff for whatever reason. So when those 2 teams meet on LAN in Asia a little bit later on in April, that'll be super fun. But currently, Pack is dominated, in my opinion, by Daff and Honeypot, not just because they have the Australians, but they just have the most tenure. They've been around the longest. They have the strongest players. Ace and High Vision, if you could split Patapan into 2 new DPS players, this is what we have: Ace and High Vision. They're really, really exciting new Thai young DPS players coming on through, that are doing a lot. And then you have Solgi on Honeypot, who is the best Singaporean player and really strong meta for him. He was playing at an internet cafe in Korea today, and he like had apparently maximum 60 frames per second, and he couldn't play anything but Mei.
Oh, I saw that.
Because apparently on 60 FPS playing Tracer against you,
That 60 FPS is bad in the modern day. You do not want to be on 60 FPS in Overwatch. It's a very, very hard time.
So you have those 2 teams that are kind of fighting it out, and I think 2 teams from PAC get to go to LAN. So there's some competition there. But the interesting about PAC is there it is.
Oh, and there's no
no
mouse
space for
space.
mouse.
So
Classic
tragic,
no mouse
actually.
space.
That's all these
Yeah.
PC cafes. They never have enough space for your mouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're
So
playing
the
an
interesting-
FPS mouse pad, like a big mouse pad.
Interesting thing about PAC is they don't have a round robin stage. They're just playing the playoff now. I guess there's not enough time in the broadcast for them, because with the Asia broadcast right now, it goes for 7 days and it just repeats.
I mean, this
So-
region just has like more to get through, right? Because they like the sub regions
100%.
need to coalesce into the main region, so
Yeah.
they're gonna have to have a more condensed format, right?
So my ass has been co-streaming for 11 days in a row right now. Later
God.
today, I'll be doing my 12th stream in a row. I've
Let's
not taken a single
go.
break.
Dude, I was
go.
literally so I used my Google Calendar and I was adding in all the like OWCS dates in my calendar just so I know when like stuff is happening. And I added in the OWCS Asia because it just Pacific, Korea, Japan, like it just goes together, right? And it was from like February 28th until like April 4. There's been broadcast every day for like over a month
day.
straight from those 3 regions combined. It's absurd. There's so
Going
much
back.
every single day. It's just an unbelievable amount of content right
Ooh,
now
those-
across all regions.
Those thumbnails go kind of hard. The head-to-head ones.
Yeah, they've updated them. They've improved the
They go
thumbnails,
kind of
guys.
crazy, actually.
That
Looking
was-
like Apex out here, actually.
I like this.
Like
That
old
was
school
the-
kind of
that was the
esports vibes. That's kind of sick. Like StarCraft as well.
Third drama of the week was someone on Reddit who was like, "I hate these thumbnails," and they ended
No,
up
shut
getting
up.
the thumbnails.
Dude, it looks like
changed.
old StarCraft stuff when they like, and this is how you star build, by the way, as well. This is how you star build players. You do stuff like this rather than having generic thumbnails.
True.
Dude, bro,
Crewing in the
even in OWCS Korea, Sir Majed, he's the face
Yeah.
of the team for Falcons. Hasn't played a map yet. I'm sure he
true.
will eventually. We'll talk about Falcons. We'll talk about Korea. I guess we're ready now.
Yeah, let's talk about
Dive
Korea.
into Korea,
Let's
Ooh,
do
it's
it, Alvaro.
exciting.
the
It's
big
exciting.
boy region.
There's some serious
Insane
hitters.
rosters.
in
you
this
guys-
Some of the
region.
best
Did you-
names in the region too. Whack.
Did you guys watch? I think
Falcons is
whack.
this is the most bonkers roster I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Team Falcons. This is out of control bonkers. Like
This might be the best
Is this team,
roster.
Jake, is
ever
this
made.
team your dark horse or no?
by dark horse. This is the favorite to be the world champion by like I would say if
It's
I
your
was a
white
betting
horse team.
man, I don't bet on esports, but if I were, I would take like 60% that this team is the world champion over everyone.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Jake's betting Custis House in this. Yeah.
Maybe more. Maybe more. Like this is obviously the best team in the world, and unless something weird happens, they will win everything, in my opinion. They are the clear favorites.
Easily proper Stalker Smurf
For
Harmon
me,
Geofielder.
Stalker. I mean, when I was every time you can attest to this, Johnny. Every time we talked about Atlanta Reign last season, I'm talking about Stalker because
Yeah.
for me, he was a breakout star. And like, yes, there were more well-known players on the team, and so I don't think he got fully the credit. But this guy, like, of all the players in the world who you're totally happy to have proper off tracer, it is this guy, right? You want Stalker to have your tracer locked in, and then I think you get to really see Proper's true potential, which is as a hyperflex player, playing everything, playing hit scan, playing echo, whatever he wants to play. But let Stalker be your rock, your consistent tracer player. So valuable to have. And I mean, he's a flexible player too, but tracers is where we've really seen this guy be a world beater. Smurf and Hanbin? That is gross. That is just gross. Either of these guys can solo tank and be one of the best in the world. And you've got both. So you've got your bases covered so well on different metas. You've got Chio and Fielder, who of course can just lock in for most metas, and then Surmajed probably coming in for double flex support, which he's also a world-class player. I mean, this team has a surfeit of world-class players. It's a little ridiculous how many, like you could almost have made 2 world champion contenders out of the squad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've been talking a lot about it already. So, do you have a take on Falcons, Jaws?
I mean, yeah, they're sick. They're going to be the best, and they're going to be the champions of this year, if I had to bet, honestly.
Yeah.
They just win the whole thing. I think there's no question about that. I think they're one of the best teams ever made, I'd say.
Yeah. They're the leading favorite. We already covered the Korean region a week or so ago before they started off here. So me and Avril, we've already been on the case. But if you had to
What about
pick...
the results, maybe?
Yeah, we need to cover the results. That's what I wanted to do. But since we're on the topic here, like what? Yeah, just okay. Let's go there. What do we think about the results so far, Avril? You've been watching the region. What are your first impressions?
I think everything as standard so far. I'm trying to look back. Let's go down to the actual games played. I don't believe there were any like nothing strange here. The really interesting thing is Korea's been 4-3 Overwatch the entire way through.
Yeah.
No, like absolute 3 Overwatch. Like nothing even. I say nothing coming close to 3-1. Actually, Falcons Runaway, the first game on day one, was maybe the closest game of the entire
I saw this
OWCS
game. I thought it
Korea
was...
week one so far. This is the game to watch. If anyone wants to watch one game out of this entire like 9 matches, all of these matches, Falcons Runaway is the one to watch because it was actually the closest one. Runaway played super close to Falcons despite going 0-3. All the maps were fairly winnable, but Falcons are just player to player, pound for pound, the better team, and Runaway just couldn't quite do it. But Runaway legitimately look like a top 3 team right at the moment. I think the power ranking probably looks like Falcons whacked than Runaway, and that's purely because of how good Runaway looked versus Falcons.
All right. Any takes from Jake? Jaws, did you watch the region?
Yeah,
I saw this game. I saw
watching it
the Falcons Runaway, and I was really impressed by Runaway. I think they're a great team. I think they could go really far, but the Falcons team is like sicko mode. And honestly, I was also feeling like Falcons, it's like, I feel like they're forcing the diva a little bit to like spread the play time for Hanbin, which isn't bad, but I think Doom is a little more dominant right now. I mean, I think it almost doesn't matter. Like they can win with anything, but I just think we haven't seen the full potential of Falcons. I think they're still. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have a take on the diva as to why you think Falcons might be trying to like play? Because Korea meta is like heavily Doom, and then Falcons we'll play some diva.
I think they're. I'm not gonna say trolling because I think they're probably winning all their scrims with diva too, and they also probably. I mean, like genuinely, when you are this good, it's actually smart to not always play the most optimal, strongest comp. You might want to stay more flexible. Like if your advantage is this big where you're winning everything, and until somebody makes it close on you and like beats map and like wins maps or forces you into an important series where you get penalized for losing, you kind of want to like keep flexing and keep trying new things because staying on top of like a pure mirror meta, I mean, honestly, they can just do that off pure mechanics versus being a team that is like more innovative than other teams is how you maintain that advantage longer term. So I don't hate it that they're playing the diva, but I do think that the Doom is probably better. And I think realistically, if there was like a true title match, maybe they wouldn't bring out the diva. But I could also easily see patches coming where now diva's the meta. You want Hanbin to play, and
I'll tell you,
you don't want to have Hanbin like rotting on the bench. Somebody like of these players' caliber, you don't want any of them just fully sitting on the bench.
Yeah, he's been trading time with Smurf quite a lot. I'll tell you one criticism I have of Falcons after seeing them so far, and that's that Smurf is actually, I'm not saying that he's a bad Doom at all, because he's very good, but he is not the best Doom in the region currently. I would say that there are at least 2 other Dooms that compete, if not, that either compete with Smurf, or if not, are just flat out better than Smurf, and that's actually Mag and Burner, both who are looking very good in Doom, and in particular, Burner looks incredibly good on Doom. His Doom mechanics are extremely solid. I would say that definitely Burner currently looks better than Mag on that hero. So it's good that Falcons have some extra options with Hanbin. But if we're looking about, the pure Doom, Tracer Echo, Lucio Curie kind of composition come out of Falcons, 4 out of those 5 are unbelievable. And then Smurf probably just needs to do a bit of tweaking there. That's the one weakness.
4 out of 5 are like top 1, and then Smurf is like top 3.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty rough.
2 of the top 1s are on DPS, which I think is the most important role in this meta. So that's what you really need. If your Tracer and your Echo are giga pounding, then it almost doesn't really matter what else is happening.
If you're winning, this meta is all. I mean, these changes to the game have made the game all about staying ahead of the trades and winning your trades, rather than about one-shotting, which for a long time the game was about one-shotting. For the last like 2.5 years, high-level games are about one-shotting and supporting your one-shots. So like, how do you maximally enable my Sojourn to make a solo kill? So like my Tracer, my purpose is to create more opportunities for my solo kill hero to make a solo kill, or Pulse Bomb is a solo kill. So that's okay, great.
Yeah.
But the new meta is even more critical that you're like staying on top of your trades, which I don't know. I think DPS is super important for that, but at the same time, also you really need to have a very, very smart players on every role, because if anybody is like overextending or getting like from the support and tank perspective, DPS might be the ones who are like forcing these trades and dominating them, but as a support, it's like your resistance to that and how difficult you are to push out, and also how much you can also contribute in those same trades is just as important. So for me, if anything, it makes the game much harder to solo carry versus a full team effort. So as much as DPS players maybe are more impactful because the DPS passive is strong and DPS are strong right now, I do think the game is harder to solo carry than it's ever been before. So it's even more important that you don't have weak links and that your team is strong across the board, versus in the past where like maybe one superstar hit scan can like carry you in a Sojourn meta, and it's just like that can be enough. Now I feel like that's not going to be enough almost ever. If you have like weak players who are losing trades or having bad reads, you're done.
That's why, you know, Falcons with their ironclad Field backline that don't die, on top of them having, which I think you saw this as well, Jake, the scariest thing possible, which is if you thought playing against one of either Proper or Stalker's Trace was bad, how about both Trace at the same time when Proper plays Echo, then copies Trace every single time, and now both Proper and Stalker on Trace at the same time, double pulsing mag. It's just like, okay, that's the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, that's not looking too hot for the other team. I'll tell you what, that's not a DPS match I'm excited to take.
Do you guys have any additional thoughts on this region? We've been going at it for quite a while, and we covered this region in a previous episode. Obviously, we're going to keep following the region as it progresses, the matches go through. Any other team you want to shout out here, AVRL? Because otherwise I want to get to the news that dropped during the episode.
I got one team, and I think it's the outside team. We talked a lot about in NNEU, maybe some dark horse teams or that next team to look out for. And I think that team is actually Yeti in Korea. They really impressed me. This is the Knife, Viper, Dongak, Bliss, Irony team. Very exciting plays across the board. Viper popped the fuck off. This guy did the most insane sticks. Look, if you thought his sticks were Overwatch League were good and you thought maybe it's just a fluke, it ain't a fluke. If we watch his POV, he just doesn't miss sticks. This guy's got an above 80% stick rate at all times. He's getting multi-frags on sticks. He's looking like one of the best tracers in the region. Yeti as an overall team is looking solid, and I think Dongak on a team where, you know, he's not necessarily the youngest player, and Chio's not yelling at his ear. I think Dongak's having a much better time as well. So Yeti in general is looking like a strong team.
All right, there you have it. So the news that dropped during the episode, we've been going at it for quite a while, so we might not spend on it too much, but there was, you mentioned this to me, Avril, that there was a director's blog that did drop, mixing up the meta in the mid-season, from Aaron Keller, published just now. Jake is giggling, but I read through the blog while you guys were talking about Korea, just to give myself a heads up here. So the biggest change that I think is most impactful is going to be that they're nerfing the damage passive a little bit. So they're nerfing the damage passive from 20% to 15%. They did write how they've been keeping track of the impact of the damage passive, how it's adjusted the game, and you know they wanted obviously to reduce the viability of healing quite a bit, but they said that 20% is too much, especially it hurts tanks a lot, which tank players have felt. Been a lot of tank players who have cried out for help, and so they're reducing the damage passive from 20% to 15%. I guess we can start with that before we go into some individual hero changes that they did touch on. Jake, you've been playing Overwatch a ton at the top level, of course, so how do you feel, just initial reaction about 20% to 15%?
I think it's fine. To me, it's hard to disambiguate without the internal data between how much of the change in the tank's experience is from the healing passive and how much is from the bullet size change. Because even though tanks get like a bigger buff to their hero pool, ultimately, or sorry, your not hero pool, your HP pool, your HP pool is not as valuable on tank as it is on other heroes, because tanks are not full bursted generally the way tank goes is it's about who is trading better. So like both tanks are going to be taking a ton of pressure at all times. That's like the nature of the hero. Is it's like, or the role? Is it like you're, you know, you can kind of tank more pressure and it's your role. That's your job. You're the tank. And so it's really about whether your health bar is going up or down. Like, can you take in the oncoming damage or not? And although this is like 5% change, a little bit more, now it's okay. A little bit more heals are coming into your tank. Still, the amount of damage coming into the tank is drastically increased because of the projectile sizes and stuff. So the increased accuracy changes across the board mean, yes, you have a bigger health pool, but ultimately your health pool, it's not about whether your health pool is big and you're getting full bursted from max HP. It's about whether your trade is going well or poorly compared to the other tank. And I mean, this is basically a 5% shift to the heal buff. So that's like 1/2 of the equation is changed by 5%. For me, that's really small, but I want it to be small. Maybe this is like ultimate DPS build, ultra bias, right? So I'll accept that as a DPS player if people say this. But I think it's actually crucial for the game that damage beats healing. Like, it's actually critical for the game. I feel like I mean, GOATS is like the extreme example, right? But even post 5v5 and roll lock and everything, there was a while for like the last year where stuff like Brig Bap was just like an egregiously strong comp. And what made it strong was it just like heals through everything. Like, you just can't out damage these healers. They will just output more heals than your DPS can deal, other than one hits. Like, that was part of what made one hitting so good. So for me, one hitting feels bad. And it's actually much more important for the game that it's about, okay, trading resources. Okay, they're down on resources. Can we push more right now? We're down on resources. Can we recover right now? Like, we need to recover, rather than just expecting that like any damage that's not one hitting me is going to be fine. My supports will heal me. That, I think, is like a really toxic way for the game to go, and is where it was for a couple of years. So where DPS was like Tracer super dominant because Pulse Bomb is a one shot, or you kill the supports off, which is a way to avoid the healing. And then, or, you know, all the one-shotting heroes can one-shot people. They don't care about healing. And so I think it's actually really important that tank, like, you do die if you're not trading well on tank and you're not using cover. You can't just get like heal soaked through everything. I think that's actually a really bad place for the game to be, even if it's probably more fun on tank and you're more powerful if you can just get heal soaked, and that's like good enough, and you don't need to manage your HP bar. You can just go in and do max impact and like not worry about what resources that's costing your team. But I think the game is much more interesting when resources are scarce versus plentiful. I think the more plentiful they are, the more boring the game is, actually, or the less interesting strategically it is, the less dynamic it is, because it's just like you're waiting on certain things to happen. You're waiting on ults, you're waiting on one shots, versus playing like the small resource game of, we have a small lead on our health pools right now. Recognize that, take more space, bully the enemy back. And the vice versa. If you're falling behind on the health pools, do we need to grab a health pack? Is there some sort of distraction play we can make? Do we need to just rip an ultimate right now because the fight is kind of being pulled out of our hands? I think the game's more dynamic with that being the case. And the easier it is to play tank, the less, and like the more satisfying, or the more powerful tank is, the less that's true. The less your resource bar matters. You can just go for it and YOLO, and you're stronger than the other heroes in the map.
I think tank definitely need a little bit of help here, but I do wish that they did this nerf to the healing reduction passive specifically for tanks, and they kept it 20% for everyone else. And, you know, I think, okay, maybe you could say that's maybe a little confusing, but at the same time, you remember tanks already have that passive where they sort of reduce things by a little bit extra. You know, they get less knockback, less CC, and all of that. This could just be part of that, where like you could count the healing reduction as a CC effect, and you know the tank passive reduces that naturally from 20 to 15 or something like that, and then, you know, that improves the tank experience a little bit more without shifting the 20% healing. Because I think that 20% healing reduction is really good, but it's just probably maybe a little too strong on tanks, and that seems like a tank specific issue and not like an Overwatch issue, in my opinion.
Josh, you gotta take
good.
here.
Yeah, long fights are boring.
Yeah,
Casting long fights is boring.
agreed.
Zombie comp is boring. Shit should die. It's pretty sweet when shit
Yeah,
dies.
pretty sweet.
Like, and also the correlate of damage should be better than healing, and people therefore should naturally be dying in the fights, is also that every hero should be able to be aggressive and deal damage. So one thing I've talked about before, I think I would love to see. I think Mercy needs a little bit of a rework. I would love to see.
Let's go.
Welcome.
Or like
Welcome.
I think Rez. Maybe you leave it on Valk. maybe you can't res out of Valk.
Oh, damn!
But-
give this guy a Nobel Prize, bro. I've been
But
saying it
give
for
Mercy
years.
something to replace this, right? Like you
Yeah,
don't just
give her
take
some
something away.
fucking
And
other.
give
her
her
dual pistols, bro. She whips out the Glocks
Yeah,
and just
the
starts getting
dualies.
people. Oh, fuck
She
it.
gets the dualies from CS.
Yeah, just
like
gets
the model
the
comes up
dualies.
on your
Fuck it, why
screen,
not?
and it's the CT gloves with the dualies.
Exactly. Just get some
But-
dualies out, bro. At least do some
No,
damage.
but
I
I
fucking
mean-
hate seeing shit with zero DPS.
Or
at
give
the
her
end of
like
the game.
another type of stim for her pocket hero that she can pop. Like it doesn't have to. I mean, I don't
Alright,
know.
that's
I
not
don't
too
think dualies really fit with her kit. But give her something aggressive that like lets her push trades and be because I think this hero is like you fell behind and you res and now you're not behind anymore, and that is not healthy or like it's not a modern way for the game to function, where realistically falling behind and then like canceling that out is not good. You want to not fall behind. That's like really important in the modern game, and all these changes is you need to stay ahead. And damage boost kind of does that. Mercy's not completely useless in that regard, but I do think Mercy needs something more proactive in her kit, and res is just inherently reactive. If you want to keep it on the kit, put it in Valk, where like you could it's actually realistic to res with Valk, whereas it's just not all that realistic to res very often without Valk. And so I'd love to see Mercy having just more proactive value in her kit. It doesn't have to like, she doesn't need a gun, you know what I mean? Like I'm okay with her having this unique kit. And I think it's really good for introducing people to the game, but some kind of proactive skill that's not reactive like res.
Jack, you ever play League of Legends? You know much about League of
I
Legends?
don't know League of Legends. I'm a Dota player.
Okay, well, Jack, you play
Yeah,
League
I
of
know,
Legends.
I
Let me introduce
What's
you
that?
to a
What's
nice
going
skill.
on? What's going on?
Because the brain waves were going there when Jake was staying proactive. I'm like, bro, let me drop in something real toxic for the Mercy Mans here. How about we change Res to Zillion's ult from League of Legends? Where, Jack, you know where this is going. It's
That
proactive
sounds like
now.
a terrible
So-
idea.
So yeah, well, I'm glad you love it. I'm glad you
What
love
does
it.
it do?
It's basically res, but you have to use it proactive. You have to use it before the player dies, and if they die while the effect is on them, then they get res. But if they don't die,
At
it
full
just does
HP?
nothing. Well, I don't know. You can adjust the HP to what you want to balance
Oh
it.
yeah,
okay,
you could
okay,
adjust
okay.
that, I suppose.
You can
Yeah,
adjust the HP. But that
that's
would be
like in
proactive
Dota.
instead
There's
of
an
reactive.
ability called Shallow Grave, the Dazzle, where you can't die, but you go to 1 HP. So you go to if you pop Shallow Grave on somebody,
already
they
have that. It's called
literally
the
go
Immortality
to
field.
1.
So
they
this
can't
is
pop
so
until
that's
the ability
immortality
ends.
field. That sounds like immortality field, but
Yeah,
this
it's
is
kind of like Immortality Field actually, but you go to literally 1 HP.
Yeah.
So like, if you don't get healed, you just pop right after,
but
right?
one HP in Dota is a lot different because in Dota you have thousands of HP. So 1
That is
HP
true.
is like
But
extremely
1
low,
HP
but
in any game is the same, right? Like at that
I
point,
guess
like you get
you
tickled
one
and you
shot.
die.
One shot's a one
Versus,
shot.
I think
One
it's a
shot's
huge
one shot.
deal that BAP Immortality Field keeps you at like 50. I think that's massive. That's like a huge deal for this skill.
Like
to be
Zillion's,
good.
but like Zillion's ult is like use it proactively, and if you do die, and if you do die, then you get res.
So stupid.
Here we go.
This is it.
Put that on Reinhardt, buddy. Let's
You can
go.
put it on-
Charge
God.
in,
You can
you
put it
get
on
rest.
anybody. So like you don't have to put it on yourself either. So Winston jumps in, he dies, he fucking reses again.
This is
So
what
the point
Lifeweaver
is,
should
so
get.
the point is like you can't just like you don't res someone and just like almost guarantee a res because they're dead and you know that effect will work unless it gets broken and you die or something. This is like you have to preempt it, and so it is a proactive ability rather than a
It's
reactive
just not
ability.
how- yeah,
It's
not-
interesting because what
not
the
how Overwatch
counterplay to that
works, though.
ability, the only downside of this in FPS games, the thing that I don't like about it is that the counterplay is run away. I hate when the counterplay is run away. The counterplay is don't kill that guy
Yeah.
because it's literally a waste of your time.
You have to wait. In Zillion's
So
ult,
you
just
like
have to
wait and
until the
ignore
effect
or
ends.
like
Yeah.
stun them but don't kill them, and that's
Yeah.
like a MOBA thing where you like stun people, you control them, but you like wait to kill them until the right moment.
So now I was just trying to cook a little bit, Jack. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
just
I don't
trying to
mind the
cook
clip,
for you.
Alright.
but I would love to see like a simpler. I think there's simpler abilities that work for Mercy. Like what if
That's a hater.
active ability
love this.
that gives a speed amp to the pocket target. I think that's incredibly simple
Sure.
and incredibly intuitive and
We
actually
need more speed
very
amps in this
powerful.
game.
If you give a
We
speed
have
amp.
enough speed amps in this game. Do we need more
You-
speed in this
you
No,
game?
it's
gotta be
fine to
careful
put them on
with speed.
support because they're all on support. So like whatever. It's like I mean, Lucio has an AOE speed amp, so a single target speed amp for Mercy I think is pretty much okay.
Yeah, but what I mean is like, do we need more heroes that can give that speed amp? It just feels
Yeah.
like we just
I
are we
think-
just speed creeping the
I
game.
think that's
We're
a
just speed
really
creeping
good
the game.
ability to be on support. It's very powerful. It's very interesting. There's many different applications for
And
it.
it's only a single target use too. It's not like it's going to be another AOE. You know.
Yeah, or give them,
Lucio's a
like-
specialist for that, right? And
Yeah,
then
give them,
I
like,
think a single target one's
Kiriko-
fine.
Kiriko cooldown amp is an interesting skill that's unique to the Kiriko ult right now. You could put that on some sort of like active ability for Mercy. And I like that. I mean, Mercy is fundamentally she's going to be always like a pocket hero with a lot of mobility, and that's her value to the game is that she she's like baiting you to shoot her, but she can't really be. In the end, you don't catch her, and you wasted your time. That's like she's the snitch from Harry Potter, right? Yeah, like actually, I think that's sort of the vibe of the hero, and so I think something that fits
Good
in
analogy.
that theme would be really good. Less on the I'm like, or I want it to help Mercy too. I don't want it to just be like pure. Maybe even the speed amp for the pocket hero. It should be both for Mercy and the pocket hero.
New segment, guys.
more
Shark
juking for
Tank
Mercy.
for balance changers for Jake.
Yes,
Me,
holy
Avril, and
shit,
Jaws
yes.
were like
You
every
can
week we
pitch me
come
your
up with
balance
balance
ideas.
changes.
I'd be like 500 grand for 70%.
Yeah.
I
I like this
one.
balance
Let's
change,
buy.
but it might not be able to go too far.
This is how you
I
fix
don't
Jaws
think
Mercy.
Tank would have an even better name, but
The Jaws
Jaws
tank.
tank.
We could do that.
No, but Jaws is a hater. He shuts down everything, so it's no fun.
No,
you know?
that's not true, bro. No. I just don't. I do agree. Like, just being more proactive in the game, I think, is more fun for everybody. I just dislike the hero how it's like so passive, and it's just like you can stand around a corner, just beam, and yeah. Although,
I mean, ironically, I think that's not even like the right way to play Mercy. I think that it's actually very
It's
important
not,
at a
but
high
it's-
level to play.
Yeah,
to
at a
be
high
proactive
level.
at Mercy. Like your mobility is actually your unique value. Damage boost is like kind of okay, but like you could just be playing a hero who shoots a gun and do damage yourself, so it's not that special. But having the unique flight mobility, that is like something really interesting for Mercy that I actually think is fun and exciting. When I play Mercy, the thing I'm enjoying is like all the different escapes and movement I can pull off. And I think that's probably true for a lot of Mercy players. I don't think most Mercy players like hiding in around a corner and blue beaming, even though that sometimes is strong. I don't
all right,
imagine
Avril,
that's
one quick last thing before we move
Okay.
on, because we gotta move on.
Yeah. This is just a meme, so it's just whatever. But I think we need to introduce something new here. We gotta call this the law of Jaws or something, or the Jaws law,
What the
where
fuck? What?
all discussions in Plat Chat, given a long enough
Why?
time, will go towards him hating on Mercy. So
that's not true. That's not how. That's never how Plat Chat has worked. You guys, the
wrong.
problem is, you guys coaxed me into this shit, and then I just end up going off. Now the cat wants
We
to
have
leave the
a-
room, so I'm
we have
gonna
a
fucking let the
secret
cat
show
out.
notes
Shut the
that
fuck
Jaws
up
doesn't
and
get
move
to
on.
see.
Move on.
we have the baiting Jaws into a Mercy conversation in the show notes. We don't
thought we
put
were
that on
out.
the notes for Jack.
And he pulled me
Jaws law.
right back in. Mercy changes. All right, this is actually an interesting change mentioned in the blog, though, and it's the very first one. On the support side, we're making a fairly significant buff to Anna's grenade. Its damage and healing will move from 60 to 90 health to give her more self-survivability.
God.
Anna is an interesting hero and one of the most played in the entire game, so we're hoping that this adjustment brings her to a place where she feels viable but not dominant. 60 to 90
It's quite a lot.
damage and healing.
it's 50%.
I mean, to be fair,
Increase.
nading yourself right now as Arno feels like shit. So
Yeah, you
fair
have so
enough.
much health pool, right? It's like it just
Yeah,
doesn't
you
feel
have so
that
much health pool.
meaningful.
Plus, if you get peppered by the fucking 1 pixel of damage from Tracer across the map, you got the, it's just like, bruh. So, yeah, I think that's a good change. It's just kind of updating her. She kind of sucks right now, especially how fast the meta is. Her kit's always going to be valuable. So
To be fair, I wouldn't hate to see a change to the DPS passive where it's like
you have to do a
whatever
certain
it
amount.
is, 20 damage in
Yes.
2 seconds. Like it should be a really low amount. It should be like
Yep.
one shot from any hero, other than literally getting tickled across the map by Tracer.
Yes.
Like that's a little.
You should have to do
I don't know
10
about that
to
one
20
having
damage,
a
maybe,
big
like
effect on you.
15 or something.
Yeah, or like one quick melee. Maybe that's well, I guess that's 40. That's kind of a lot.
That's
Some
a
heroes,
lot,
Like it's
yeah.
like more than one bullet.
I think
from
20 is
Soldier.
good. 20 is good.
20 or
But
something
even
like
Soldier,
that,
it's
yeah.
like should one bullet from Soldier put this passive on you,
probably
or like
not.
one Sojourn left click? I don't know. So some of that
Yeah.
just feels a little like
a
you
little
can like
weird.
strafe the whole team with a Sojourn bullet and you turn all their heals down. That is, I like that you can turn people's heals down, but I think maybe it could be a little bit more conscious. Realistically, it's still not good to try and do 1 damage to every player to keep. You should actually try to kill people on DPS. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I wouldn't hate a change like that. Making it just getting rid of some of the silly edge cases, like getting poked across the map by Tracer and losing.
Do you think this brings Anna back into the OWCS meta?
Nope.
No.
The meta is way too
I think
quick.
Ana,
Way
hot
too
take. I mean, people love Ana, and so this is a very spicy take. But competitively, it might need a rework after Kiriko exists.
There
Your
ain't no
hero's
way
just
they're
hard
reworking
counter.
Anna. There ain't
Exactly.
no way.
There ain't no way, but it's like your hero's kind of hard countered by
Yeah.
a cleanse.
By a
you
literal
know?
another hero.
Like,
So
yes.
so the cleanse should get reworked, not Anna.
Well,
I would say
but,
yes. Actually, I think Cleanse should get a rework.
But how do you rework that other than it just
Exactly.
get rid of it,
It's
or
like
a
that
new
is the
skill?
unique part of the kit in like her base kit
And
is that she
I kind of
can
like that a
cleanse
cleanse
things.
exists because, to be honest,
Right.
before that existed, Ana was egregiously overpowered. It was like, this is the only way in the entire game we can do this. This hero was like mission critical to defeating certain strategies, and there's no replacement for it. And there's also nothing the other team can do if I hit this nade. So they need to play D.Va, so we can't nade them. You know what I mean? Like, it like creates these really significant impacts on the game that it exists. And I think having a real counterplay, like a proper counterplay on another support, is actually really important. I just wonder if Ana's kit could shift. I like that. I would like if it shifts more away from like, okay, your real value is like anti-nading and sleeping people. And to be honest, you know, they're still good. And having 2 CCs versus or two cleansable skills, and they only have 1 cleanse. It's not the end of the world.
Differences. Kiri just entirely negates Ana, and that's the problem. There's a difference between like, here's an answer to a hero versus here's how I can make the other hero just not exist. So
you literally delete the Ana from the game. I think that
the problem is that Ana still has a lot of impact, right? With the healing she provides is still, you don't do anything with Ana's healing, right? You're only stopping her aggressive potential. So in the end, maybe I'm overreacting. In the end, now that I think about it, if you just buff Ana like a little bit, maybe this is the type of buff to do that.
Well, all you need to do is mess the timing window of the Suzu cooldown and the nade cooldown to the point where you can't just keep fucking trading. Oh,
Suzu's already significant, like 3 or 4 seconds longer, right?
Right, but
that's not maybe enough.
Yeah, if it was like, if the nade had a even shorter cooldown, you can mess with the numbers kind of thing. But like opening that window is probably the only space where you get like, Ana's like strong.
Well, you have 2 CCs, right? So you can sleep somebody and they cleanse them, and then you can nade somebody else and there's no cleanse.
Yeah. I mean, that is the fucking.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm rejecting. I was wrong, and Ana's fine. It just maybe needs some buffs. Maybe it's just a little.
I actually think, talking about the nade, I actually think they could have not given her an extra 30 heal and damage and just shifted the cooldown.
Nade.
Oh yeah, give her 2 nades. No. I think they could have just given like the cooldown maybe slightly shorter and left the damage and healing the same. But just
I do think though,
from
Blizzard's perspective, like from a competitive perspective, I'm thinking like, oh, they have Ana, so we're always gonna have a Kiriko. But that's like not at all how the game really is for 99.9% of the player base. And so I think it's a little, it can be hard, right? Because if you like, Ana's nade is really, really strong if you don't have a Kiriko. Like before,
and also,
Kiriko
don't
existed.
forget DLC hero, bro. You have to unlock her, man. Don't forget. Ana's in the base game. Yeah, Kiri. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
How do you even?
Crazy.
What do you have to do to unlock Kiriko now?
I think it's got to be like shoot 2 people in practice range and then win 3 games or some shit like that. I think that's one of the tank ones, or the last time I saw them were like.
It probably
last
takes
time
you
was the
10,
RAM
20
was
games,
like
but...
go to training range and use your ability 5 times, then go play normal games and win on tank roll. Like it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, emote thanks to another support, unlock Kiri.
Yeah, and you unlock Kiri. Well, that's pretty sick.
Okay, we've officially reached the territory where I'm just going to ramble through these other smaller changes.
Yeah,
they're not as big as this one. And you just tell me if you have any thoughts on these smaller changes. So we're also making a few adjustments to Lifeweaver to help with the healing burst potential, increasing his maximum heal from 70 to 80 with maximum charge, increasing from 1 to 1.15. They think that both Lifeweaver and Mercy will be more reliable moving forward. Doomfist the Maga to the tanks, getting a tune-up. Meteor strike damage, minimum damage will increase from 15 to 50. Small change. But then Mauga is getting changes to its cardiac overdrive ability. The duration decreases from 5 to 4 seconds, and its cooldown will decrease from 12 to 10 seconds. Additionally, it will fill its passive overhealth by 100. We want the ability to be more reliable and more consistently give Mauga additional survivability. Mauga will also receive a buff to its overrun. The stomp damage will increase from 45 to 60. And a tank, we are not touching this Badger's Wrecking Ball, but we have a small rework coming to our level yet deranged hamster in Season 10.
Damn, they really out here see what they do. Deranged. That's,
I kind of
he gets
feel
a
like...
pig pin. He gets a pig pin.
I feel like the thing with Ball, because I've actually been doing some private coaching and talking to people, Ball is this hero that I think is like very hard to understand conceptually for most players. I think that might be his issue, really. Ball players, I think, will actually pretty quickly pick up on it. But the problem with Ball is that he's so unique in the tank world. I think it's part of why he's so beloved as well. And so I think it's interesting that they're going to do a little rework. I hope it's not too much, because I think it's kind of beautiful that Ball is this interesting, unique hero that plays in a way no other tank can. Which is that there's no front line with ball, and you that's not necessarily a bad thing. You just need to play heroes that don't need frontliners typically, unless it's like attack defense and you can camp high ground. Maybe it's okay, but generally speaking, you have no front line, so you need to play all. If you have a ball, you need every single player on your team to also be in the wrecking ball mindset of like, we're all going to be tricky. Like, ball's going to be tricky, so everyone's going to be tricky. If you do that, it's very good. It's extremely powerful to play this way, but it's kind of inaccessible to people because people don't realize there's like, it's the only hero in the game that makes you play this way. Like, nothing else is like this at all. That you just, everyone is tricky and weird, which I love because I love playing tricky and weird, but you know, I think maybe that's what their main target is, the accessibility of this hero being so unique.
That's all I'm saying.
In the darkest hour of the off-season, we had a Wrecking Ball rework video, and I can't remember what we even suggested in that video.
I could
I
see
hope they
them
didn't watch
killing
it.
the shield ability and putting something more interesting on it, honestly. I don't think that ability really matters. I hope, I mean, I feel like reworking grapple or slam, maybe slam kill. I feel like you can't rework grapple. I feel like I really don't want
I don't
them
think
to
you
touch
can
grapple.
rework
No.
slam either. What would you change it into?
No, slam is
They
iconic.
said, they said
Yeah.
small rework, so it sounds like
Yeah.
one ability maybe gets reworked.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like
Single ability.
shield, or maybe the maybe the shield. Like, what if the shield is somehow adds some more team play? What if the
What if
shield
it-
is
what if
not
it's
HP
Oh,
for
Dude,
wrecking
dude,
ball?
I got it. What if the
If
shield?
it's like
What
a
if the
Winston
shield?
bubble or whatever. Like,
What if the
it might not be
shield-
broken, but
What if the shield gave your entire team green HP and made everyone move faster for a short
That's so
duration?
smart.
what the
That's
hell?
so
That's the most
smart.
broken thing I've ever heard.
That's so smart.
You get
He
the
should get
best,
shout.
one of the
jokes.
best tank skills in the game. You get Junker Queen shout on Wrecking Ball.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
and then the little hamster comes out of the ball and does a little squeak for the shout, and
Oh
they all
my
run
God,
really
wait a
fast.
minute.
Wait, that's goated actually. Wait,
That's
add this
fire.
in again.
And then they all go.
The E is you can like you jump out of the ball as the hamster, and you're like a Junkrat, you're like a Junkrat Riptire. You like sneak up to somebody and you like possess their teammate. You know what I mean? You
the
crawl on top
hell?
of their head like
Wait, wait,
Ratatouille.
wait. I got it.
And
I
you
got
pull
it,
their
Jake.
hair.
I got it,
And you
Jake.
make them turn against their team.
They're changing the ultimate, so it's like techies. You can hide the mines in corridors.
The
Oh
bombs
my
are invisible
God.
now. Have fun, everybody.
Oh no, I got it. I got it.
Can
I
you
got it.
imagine Wrecking Ball mines invisible?
No, I got the
That needs to
perfect
be an
change.
April Fool's patch.
This
that
one's
would be
targeted.
so good, actually.
This one's targeted. This is an April Fool's patch targeted just for Jaws. When the mines get placed, every mine that gets destroyed shows up in the kill feed.
Oh my god. Please,
for you, Jay.
bro.
Just
the
for you,
fucking
buddy.
That's pretty
summons.
funny.
The fucking summons. Give me another kill feed. Give me another kill feed. Fuck
kill
the summons.
feeds.
I do actually think though, like, and I'm gonna this. Is, sorry, I'm a little League of Legends build on this one, but Kled has an ultimate where like he creates a speed lane and everyone runs fast. I've always thought it'd be fun
That is
if
cool as
Ball,
hell. Yeah.
if Ball when he rolls, maybe like an ability where he rolls
You can
and
like
he creates
follow
like
the
a lane.
trail. Of
Yeah, you can
ball.
follow his ball
That's
trail
exactly
and you
what
will
Kled
move
does.
with him.
He
Yeah.
just runs, and then everything behind him is quick. It's like, ooh,
Kind of interesting.
Yeah,
bit of
actually,
teamplay.
I mean, I
like
think
that.
you wouldn't. It could be like an active ability on the E, maybe
Yeah.
getting rid of the shield. Because I think now that he has like native shields on the hero, and just the of all the tanks, he's by far the best user of the regen passive.
Yes.
You know, I think he's gotten
I
some natural buffs from some of the shifts in the game, and also, I mean, getting a huge buff like having shield HP is really good. So I think I could see a different skill on the E. I don't think that the adaptive shield is as meaningful or as
I
important.
think the shield is getting changed. I think you're right. The shield. I think
Probably.
I think we can safely assume the change will be something to do with additional team play, because the biggest complaint that everyone has against Ball is from the pub level, from like the quick play level, is everyone's like, oh, this hero doesn't help the team. Super selfish hero,
Yeah.
makes the team play in a really weird way, and most pub players don't want to do that. And so it'll probably
it's
be
hard.
some team
It's
play.
complex.
It'll probably be some sort of team play ability. And I think the best team play ability is not just like, I press this button and my whole team gets a shield, although that's fine for Junker Queen. It's something that tells people to follow up on Ball. This is why I think like having like a speed lane kind of thing for Ball would be really cool, because it incentivizes teams like, oh, the Ball's doing this, let's all go with the Ball and do that
Yeah,
thing.
I like the concept of like, exactly, let's follow because really what you're supposed to do with a ball comp for the people at home is everybody flanks. You can still have people in the front, but they aren't playing as a strong, confident front line as they would standing behind a tank like a Ramatra or next to a Junker Queen. They need to play as if they are flanking. Even though you're in the front line, you're in your side of the map, you're not going to get help from ball if the enemy runs at you, so you need to be ready to run away. You're playing as if you are a flanker. Everybody is. So ideally, you have some actual flankers who can really take the flank with ball, but then the people in the back, they need to be ready to run, because you can't take a strong engagement. You need to wait for the timings to come in from your ball. And so something that helps them run away or helps them rotate with ball to maybe flank people who couldn't normally flank. Maybe they can flank with this speed lane. I like that concept a lot.
All right, we got one more piece of news in the blog, guys. I can't wait for this one as an old head. We're also going to be running our next quick play hack later this season. This one is called Double Trouble, and it removes the 1 hero limitation in game. Roll queue will still be active, but this means that players can choose 2 of the same hero for both damage and support roles. The hero limit was something that was implemented in Overwatch early into the original launch. At the time, we didn't have roll queue in the game, and players could create a team of 5 Winstons and a support. We call this strategy the Quinston, and it won our first internal tournament. However, now that we do have roll queue in the game, the possibility of creating comps like this is gone, giving players more freedom in which hero they choose and more creativity in putting comps together could be great. We can't wait to see what you come up with.
This is a really fun quick play hacked idea. I love this for a quick play hacked. I think this is super exciting.
I've come up with something. What is the most broken combination you can think of? I'll start.
Tracer, Lucio, Lucio, Winston.
Yep.
I'll just go. Let me just focus on one hero right now.
Let me just focus on one hero. It's 2 Tracers. I promise that is the most broken thing you can play.
Let me cook that, because I think there are certain interactions that you have to think about. It's like, wait, how does this even work? What if 2 Sombras arrive? If one Sombra hacks, can the other one just virus and has the bonus like fast damage straight away, or what? Or does
not if they're trying to hack a Tracer who recalls.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, how does the ownership work? Like, do you share ownership of
probably
like, the hack?
Presumably virus you would get the benefit from a hack target, presumably.
Yeah, because like it's because I've there's a lot of interactions in the game that I've never had to think about because you don't have 2 heroes at the same time in terms of where ownership.
Literally anything else than that?
I know there's some reworks. I know there's some new heroes. But we've done this, guys. We've done this. We know what it's gonna end up like. And it's like Jake said, it's double Tracer, it's double Lucio. We've been here
I don't know
before.
about the double Lucio. I do think
guys,
it's
that
interesting.
Was like 8 years ago.
I could see a world where, number one, Winston might not be the best in that comp. I think I could see like maybe I would naturally want to put another tank there than Winston, someone who's better at fighting Tracer, or even like a diva, honestly. And I don't know about. I wonder if 2 Lucios is actually better than like a Lucio Kiriko. I'm not actually so confident about that.
Dude, the fucking healing would be insane. Although still, I mean, you get DPS passive, so it's like wouldn't be that bad, but still.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I don't mind it either. Like, but you know what I mean. Maybe Lucio Moira is still better than that. Maybe it is 2 Moiras actually. Maybe it's 2 Moiras. 2 Tracers.
You just wouldn't kill anything, even with a new DPS passive when they're orbing as well.
Oh, believe me, with 2 Coles, you will kill things.
Oh right,
yeah,
with 2 Coles, definitely. I was
2 Coles, 2 damage
players.
orbs.
Yeah.
Oh my.
God.
You better be playing a fucking diva.
Oh,
you're getting 2 Coles and 2 Tracers on you.
No.
That's a cook right there. I feel like, but I wonder though, like, is Lucio Moira, is that not better than having 2? Like, I'm not actually.
I don't know.
Sure.
The speed, I think they complement themselves so well. So
I think
we'll see. I guess.
I think having 2 BAPs will be super frustrating. Just 2 Immortality Fields.
Oh my god.
I think people overrate massively how good Immortality Field is because it's
casual. We're talking about quick play, so like
yeah, but I mean,
it's like,
2 Immortality Fields doesn't mean anything if you're getting like swarmed. You know what I mean?
Sure,
that saves you from like the certain skill, but it doesn't.
Well,
it's not actually good in like most situations.
This game mode's the best.
You don't want to get overwhelmed and then be relying on 2 Immortality Fields back to back. You want to not get overwhelmed.
Let's be real. What's actually going to happen is you're going to get 2 Mercies who heal each other.
Now that's content.
That's what's going to happen. That is
That's
100% going to happen.
I have copied Mercy and pocketed my Mercy before, so you know what? It's kind of sick. You fly into the sky together.
You know what?
You just keep going up.
I'm gonna call that the Booba Spray Check combo.
The Booba Spray Check. Double Mercy. No, I think 2 Tracers is like undeniably, like I just literally cannot imagine you playing anything else if you could play 2 Tracers. Because talking about heroes that synergize with themselves, Tracer doesn't have some weird mechanic that synergizes with herself, like the hack thing. That's like interesting. But Tracer is just a hero that thrives on creating space, and also a hero that it creates space and consumes space. It can both utilize space to get kills when people aren't paying attention to her. She can one clip you, and it also can push card by itself, solo kill people, flank by itself. And so you have 2 players simultaneously flanking you on Tracer. You do not want to be playing any other hero in the game than Tracer, who can always escape from the other Tracers. Like, that's 2 Tracers on top of you. I'm telling, like, there's almost nothing in the game can fight that. Like, it's just the Tracers. It's so broken.
How about, just for fun, you are a Malga player and you ask both your DPSs to play Ashe and light everything on fire for you?
That would be I want to see Malga double Bastion. Now that's what I want to see. Actually,
Double
Malga,
Bastion,
cycle
double Bastion,
the
double bat.
Bastion turrets.
Double Bastion,
cycle
double
the
bat.
turrets. Yeah. Okay. But we need Lucio. 100%. We need Lucio.
You guys got lots of time to experiment because Quick Play Hacked is coming later this season, actually. So relatively soon, I suppose. So
this would be so fun to do a little tournament for, like just like a little, like not super serious, but
Bit
like
of a throwback.
kind of a fun tournament.
Yeah.
Just to be like, because I mean, I wonder, but like, who knows? Maybe like I feel like the Double Tracer is gonna be so dominant, but I honestly would love to see some of the best players in the world, locking a Double Tracer and like, let's see what happens.
Like Falcons, who already
Oh
do
my
that
God,
right now.
the Falcons
Oh
Double
my
They're
Tracer.
God.
already doing that right now.
You don't have to
Holy.
wait for the ult though, man. It's very scary.
Oh god, that would be disgusting. That would be disgusting indeed. All right, we're gonna wrap up the episode, guys. It's been a long, good one. It's been a good episode. Brent's Player of the Week first, though. I want to shout out Zoe and Necra, who I believe won awards at the Gamers Awards. So shout out to them. That being said, I think Zoe won it recently with the VCT EMEA thing. I believe. I could be wrong, but I do think so. So I also wanted to shout out OBS Sojourn, who's been posting perspective vids on their YouTube channel.
OBS Obsogen, Brent's Player of the Week, for doing all the POVs and stuff, because that's a lot of work, actually.
That's a lot of work.
They have a coffee link as well, which is like a donation thing if you want to go to that and
Not so
donate to it
Tov.
too.
I saw it. The Road Dog.
Yeah,
It was down
Nelson's
there.
Hog. Let's go.
Down. There it is.
I would like to nominate someone.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Matilda Smidius for
Oh, there we go.
coming in for EXO. I thought that was pretty huge. So that was worthy
Oh
of a
yeah, that's
nomination.
true. Yeah,
She's streaming right now,
big.
actually. I saw on their Twitter page. Apparently, she's streaming right now. So there we go. I didn't know she did that.
I want to nominate Cointree for Best Player of the Week
Tree the goat.
for obvious reasons. For hustling.
alive.
For hustling.
I got
So
one
real for
more.
that
I
one.
got actually. I just thought of one more nomination. I'd like to nominate Bad Pachamari for killing M80 originally. He was the guy that cursed M80 and killed them
Didn't he
first.
pred them to win or some
It's
shit?
nothing new, baby. It's nothing
Dude,
new.
this guy.
Yeah,
Man,
on
he's
the
an old
first
hand.
M80 roster reveal, BP in the replies instantly says this team's gonna win it all.
Oh.
Yeah,
some of that.
Spaghettios.
And then go to the and then that tweet.
This
This just isn't fair.
Someone make the reverse Bad Pachamari fund right now. Just reverse it.
Pachamari.
Reverse all the preds, because you will win. Keep gambling. Death Note. That's a good tweet. All right, there you go.
Is it Ob Sojourn?
Obsogen for uploading
Ob Sojourn.
POVs.
There we go.
Let's go.
Great work.
That's a lot of
Thank you
work.
for all the work being put into the community. Love to see it.
Sick to be
All
able
right,
to see
lads.
more pro POVs.
There we go.
It's been GG's.
We got the first weekend of OWCS NA and EMEA action starting tomorrow. There won't be a broadcast for tomorrow, the first day. So I guess go check out Commander X's Twitch stream. And I think a lot of us will also co-stream some of the matches if we can get into the lobbies and stuff like that. So AVRL, I know you were co-streaming like never before.
Yeah, I think I'll try and do some NAEU. You know, it's not like I'm doing anything else, right, guys? So yeah, I'm gonna do some more content.
I'll definitely try to be there. I'll try to co-stream on my Twitch channel. But yeah, the action will kick off, and then next week we'll recap the action. We're getting back into the season of recapping games again. Here we go. All right, it's been a pleasure, lads. Thank you for joining me for episode 216. I'll see you guys again next week. Take care, everybody. Enjoy some Overwatch.
Wow, Jack and I were in sync with the salute.
GG's.